Hey everybody, welcome to Fishgistics, courtesy of KMC Wheels. Cameron Steele here, coming from the Baja HQ with my newly upgraded co-host, Ricky Brabec, straight back from Dakar. Welcome, Ricky.
Thank you.
You excited to be the co-host? Now, Johnny Campbell was going to be our co-host, but he couldn't navigate around the mud this afternoon. And so he's actually, well, I don't know if he was stuck. Someone else was stuck, right? What's the real story?
I don't really know the real story. I think.
Oh, he's covering up for his boss. Never mind. They were stuck in the mud, someone next door to him, and he went out to try to help him, and he too was stuck. And so today on Fishgistics, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to cover three pretty epic topics for those of you into off-road racing, or even if you just like seeing the dust a little bit, you're going to love this show. We're going to cover the Dakar Rally. Of course, we're going to start with that. As you can see, our panel here at the beginning. Then we're going to go into the Parker 425 with the Sourapas brothers, and of course, Cole Potts going to join us for that. And then a little bit later on, we're going to talk King of the Hammers, which is a pretty amazing event if you haven't been out there. The Woodstock or Burning Man of off-road racing happening out in Johnson Valley. We have the king, three-time king and first-time back-to-back king, Jason Scherer here, and also the winner of the Toyo Tires Invitational T1 race, Luke McMillan. So that's a pretty star-studded field. We're going to start off with Dakar, and I'd like to introduce our panel. Do you want to introduce some of your Dakar buddies? Are you good with that, or do you want me to introduce them?
You can introduce me.
Oh, okay. Well, my good buddy Casey Currie, we've been traveling on trail missions and been friends for quite some time. Raced the Can-Am to a 4th place overall in class and a solid overall finish, right? Were you in the top 10 for 4-wheel vehicles also? Is that right?
No, I don't even know what it was. I think 20th or 24th.
20th. And next to him, Cole Potts. You'll know him from being a hell man behind the wheel of the well, is that fair to say, right? I mean, come on. He throws it down when it comes to driving trophy trucks, also driving UTV with Robbie Gordon Motorsports, a Speed Energy team down at Dakar. And then Blade, first time I ever met you was today. Yep. Stoked to see you. Blade Hildrbrand, is that how you say it properly? Also racing at Dakar, and recently took a ride with Robbie Gordon at the King of the Hammers, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Yeah. Because everybody wants to know what the hell it's like to ride with Robbie Gordon. I can pretty much imagine what it is, but I'm going to leave it at that. So the first thing I got to say, and everybody I'm sure here will agree that, and everybody here at Baja HQ, by the way, you guys are welcome to come down at 5 o'clock. These guys are going to hang out a little bit. We can high five, talk story. Jason Scheer's here. Whoa, Joey D from 4WP is here. The Sourapas brothers, like I said, we're all going to hang out for a little bit. But my heart was crushed when Ricky Brabec didn't win the Dakar Rally. There was a lot of us here in the United States that were waving the flag. And I'm sure you guys can all start making comments here on Fishgistics, but everybody was starting to get that little tingle. And I got to ask you, Ricky, did you have the feeling, or having been through the situation you were the year before and being a racer, were you still very nervous about what could happen? Obviously, we always are, but were you starting to feel like this thing could go your way?
Yeah. It was 2 days to the end, and I for sure thought that it was in the bag. All I had to do was ride somewhat smart and somewhat fast, I guess. But when I had the issue, I just there's nothing you could do. It's out of your hands. So I, of course, was really mad, and kind of took a deep breath and tried to hold it all in and waited for the helicopter to come pick me up.
That's got to be a frustrating feeling. For those of you who don't know, Dakar Rally, the longest off-road race in the world, if I'm not mistaken. Casey, give us a little bit of background on what Dakar is all about, and we'll talk more to Ricky here and his crushing feeling, but I could see the water coming up in his eyes a little bit, so we're going to give him just a break while he composes himself.
No, Dakar Rally is this year was a 10-day stage rally. Basically, you're driving between 200 and 500 kilometers a day in specials, and then between 200 and 500 kilometers special, and then 200 and 500 kilometer liaison every day. So wake up time is somewhere between 3 and 5 in the morning every day, and you're normally getting in, well, these guys will give you a different story.
These guys are going to take some heat later on, don't worry.
They took it to a new level. But on average, if you finish without having problems, you're getting into the bivouac between 5 and 7 o'clock at night. Bikes do it a little different. But, yeah, every day is different types of terrain. This year they said it was 70% sand, but I don't really think it was that. There's way more fesh beaches and unique gravel dirt roads that we have nothing like. It's nothing like Baja. It's nothing like the Hammers. It's nothing like anything we have in the States. The explanation for it is truly the gnarliest race in the world. I mean, I've done all types of racing, and to finish or even to go and compete at Dakar is gnarly. And to do it on a bike, the understanding of trying to go and compete is gnarly. I've done trail missions and ripped a Cabo and stuff like that with you, and raced Baja and raced all that. And dude, this stuff in Dakar is crazy.
For sure. I mean, just watching it online is pretty staggering. You guys got an eye for your first time out. Huh? So you're going down there with Robbie Gordon. You guys obviously know Robbie. You've raced with him. You've been friends with him. So you kind of have an idea. He's kind of prepped you for what to expect, but it doesn't seem like it was exactly what you were going to expect, right?
No, not at all.
Not at all. And for anybody that doesn't know Robbie, he likes to play little mind games too. So he'll give you like the big picture, and then everything you need to know, he'll kind of walk you through it, but he'll leave some blank spots. So I remember we were asking questions like, what are these dunes really going to be like? You know, after we went to Sonora to get like the best idea we can get. And he's like, you have no idea. Like, can you give us some insight? He's like, you have no idea. So we're just along for the ride, you know?
Blade, what did you think when you first saw those dunes? I mean, those things are massive.
Yeah, they were huge. I mean, like he said, when we were going to Sonora Rally, I mean, we thought the dunes there were huge, but just picture that times 5. They were insane. Like, picture of me and Robbie coming down the hill, we just look like little specks compared to the dunes. The dunes are just so massive, and to be honest, I don't know how we even make it up them, but we do. So, I mean, it's pretty cool to see, like, the photos, like, coming back to it and looking at how big they are, but yeah, those dunes back there are insane.
What blows me away is the trash trucks and how they get
Oh,
over there.
they're fat.
Insane.
There's
Kamazes?
days
Yeah, those
they're
things are-
gnarly. They will race you. I mean, 2 inches from your door and the goal is as long as they don't hit you with their front bumper, they're not responsible. So, I mean, if they run into the side of you, it's fair game. So, I mean, you'll be driving and they'll literally blow by you. Because different sections, you have speed limiters and stuff like this, but you'll get into sections that, dude, they'll straight go by you. I mean, 20 miles an hour faster. And
All 4 wheels off the ground.
Oh, yeah, 2 inches from your door, and there's nothing you can do except for hold on and hope they don't hit you.
You touch on a popular question I think that a lot of people are going to tag on before we get to talking about Ricky here. The speed limiter. Now, there was a speed limit set for all UTVs. Can you explain that to us, you guys, a little bit?
Well, I think the way I take it as in the being in the side-by-side category is basically we are not, like, we don't make it the full distance. So the specials are, like on some days will be up to 400 kilometers. So, like, our cars will only go 250 kilometers on a tank of fuel. So every day in the middle of the stage, they'll give us a 15-minute break where there's a fuel stop. So it might be a gas station, or they have a big pumper truck out in the middle of the desert that we'll stop to, and we'll basically get a point where we stop for 15 minutes. Now, in the big cars, they don't stop. So what they do is, I think by putting a speed limiter on us, is that it allows us that if we were chasing for the overall, and there was a situation that, like for Robbie, to be in the situation where he was going for the overall win, well, if he was in 4th place overall in the dust all day and then pulled over to get gas and then got back out 15 minutes behind, well, now there's no more dust. So technically, he could have a better chance of catching and
Running
gaining
him down.
speed on time. Well, by putting the limiter, it makes it where he'll never have that opportunity. Yeah. Not that there was a lot of times where we're going that much faster, but there's definitely some hills where, I mean, sand dunes where you're wide open and on the speed limiter, and I'm sure those guys are doing 30 or 40 miles an hour faster.
Now, is that something you guys didn't understand was going to happen to you? You guys thought because you're in the unlimited class there wouldn't be a speed limiter?
Yeah, I was under the understanding that we wouldn't have one, but personally, like he said, I think it kind of helped preserve the cars. You know, I think that it was good, but I think it was also bad. You know, because some of the Peugeots, like on rest after rest day, you know, they're behind us, and they come blowing by you at 140, 150 miles an hour on the beach. You're like, well, what can we do about it? We're on a cap at 80 miles an hour, so. But I mean, I think it kind of helped, and it kind of didn't help in a way.
So, Ricky, what did you think when you saw your fresh fish from the United States coming down there? Were you worried for them? Did you give them some tips? Was there useful information you could share with them, or you were just head down working?
No, I was really excited to have Americans down there. You know, it makes it easier for you to communicate, for you to hang out. It's a lot more fun when your friends are there, when some Americans are there, you know, to talk to. I didn't really get to talk to Cole and Blade or like Robbie very much.
Because you were sleeping by the time they came in every night.
Or I was on the next stage when they were
true.
still on the day before. But yeah, it's different though. Like, you know, the bikes obviously get in earlier, and you know, usually at dinner time we can go talk and hang out at dinner. But you know, as far as information, I saw these two guys at Sonora, you know, bouncing in circles in their side by sides, and you know, I tried to help and tried to tell them like it's gnarly, you know, and Casey as well. You know, I was talking to him, but you can't really say how gnarly it is if they don't really know how big they actually are, other than just gnarly.
Can you give us a comparison?
It's Big Bear. It's literally the sand dunes
it's
are
like-
8,000 feet. So you're
If
like
you're looking at the Big Bear Mountains
It's
from
that.
Riverside, just imagine like the mountains all around you are no mountains, they're just sand dunes.
yeah, and they're as tall as Big Bear. So like it'd be like driving to Big Bear Lake on sand dunes.
Like put a waypoint at Big Bear Lake and then start from Riverside.
Yeah.
And try to get your cap heading to go to Big Bear Lake up those dunes.
That is a pretty good. That's
it.
a picture for me pretty clearly right there.
Yeah.
And there's only one cap heading, and it's at the top, and it's a closed waypoint. It's completely
No arrow.
Yeah, no arrow, nothing.
It's pretty tricky racing Dakar.
Oh,
yeah.
it's huge. I mean, and that's a whole nother thing about co-driving. Like for me, like obviously I had a rough going just with the uniqueness of a co-driver. But I mean, even these guys, the co-driver is so important because you can go out there and drive as fast as you want and be that Robbie Gordon crazy mentality. But if your guy tells you to go off on a cap heading that's wrong, or you can't find a waypoint, like Blaine and I, like one day, I mean, dude, we were just driving out in the sand dunes like we were in Glamis. Like, dude, we were just lost. Like we were driving. I mean, we spent
Going
30
to the
minutes.
sunset.
We were just driving 30 minutes out there. We couldn't find a cap heading, and that aspect, like no matter how fast you are and how fast you're pushing, when they say, "Hey man, we got to go 5 kilometers back," you're lost. It's like, dude, I just drove my ass off for an hour and a half. To now you're gonna tell us to turn around and literally go look for a cap heading. So and it's like that aspect of it, dude. That co-driver is so important because that one of those things you think it's over, and then you get at the end of the day, everyone got lost, and it's everyone had problems. But that mentality of a co-driver is like it is crazy important.
At Dakar, I've raced limited rally, but usually you have some kind of icons along the way where you can reset your Odo so you can get your feeling. Do you have to go all the way back to the last waypoint to be able to reset your Odo?
No.
Well,
No, you can usually see in the road book, like if it's a road crossing or a power line or a lake bed or something like this, or like a house.
or sand dunes.
But it's kind of hard to reset it
Yeah.
at sand dune. But usually if you have like a known object in the desert, you can reset there. But I don't know. I saw a look on Casey's eyes. I think on like day 2 or 3, he was so mad at his navigator. Like I don't know. Like starting from the back, there's obviously tracks.
You can follow.
I don't know his navigator. I don't even know his name, but his navigator. I don't know. Casey said he was ripping with no tracks, just in the sand dunes, and then 5-10 minutes later, his navigator just says, "I think we're going the wrong way." But
Dude.
how do you go off a cap and see no lines and take that long to tell your driver you're going the wrong way?
And
So
you
what
gotta, no, you have to have full trust. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I think the car is really a navigator
But
race.
the
It really
thing is,
I
though,
mean,
is like, but if you don't believe in him, like, and you don't, if you like, dude, he'd say, oh, like it might be a shortcut, right? And like sometimes it'll work. You'll be all like your 50th
That's called
car.
luck.
Yeah, your 50th car in line.
Blind
He's
luck.
got some line. You got some line, then it beeps, and you're like, good. And then the next time he's like, oh yeah, turn around, we're lost, and you're in the sand dunes. And the other thing is those trash trucks. You're
Are
going
coming over the top.
backwards, and yeah, you have a buzzard, but it's like you're literally going up a sand dune. And you hear buzzards okay, so that means somebody's coming, and you're waiting for somebody that they're not lifting. No one's gonna slow down, and here you are on a little teeny UTV going like, no big deal. I'm just gonna go backwards on the race course for 20 miles and try to find something I don't know where I'm at. Yeah. It's like that is like what's crazy is no one's slowing anyone down. So like, and you're allowed to go backwards. So you're racing backwards, and cars are coming the other way.
All right, so you guys all have the luxury or maybe the misadventure of having a navigator. Ricky, you're a navigator and driver. I mean, that's got to be a lot of pressure for you.
I think it's easier from what they're trying to.
How does that work? Like, what are you looking at for people that don't know? Like, how are you navigating while you're riding?
I have a road book mount like right in front of me on my motorcycle above the handlebars. So I'm looking like this and
A
looking
roll
up
chart
like
that
this.
he controls with a
Thumb
finger,
switch.
But it's
switch.
exactly what we have. So you just like you're saying, I have a guy that's his full-time job is just looking at he's got to ride a dirt bike faster than what the cars are going and scroll. He's got
Without crashing.
6 buttons that he's got to
Yeah.
scroll and back scroll, and
Yeah.
it's impressive.
It
And you're constantly resetting your
Oh, yeah.
Odo.
constantly resetting the Odo. I mean, because there's waypoints that have arrows, and then there's waypoints that don't have arrows, and then for a co-driver navigator, it's a lot easier, I would think, to find a waypoint with no arrow, because finding a waypoint with no arrow on a bike is really hard because there's nothing to tell you on your GPS. So it's a little bit difficult at times, but then
And just to be clear, there is no GPS trail.
there is no GPS trail. It's just a GPS that tells you your cap heading and
Speed.
and if you get the waypoint. But
Sometimes if it opens to, there's an arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way, that's about it. And it's
But-
about this big.
when you navigate by yourself, I mean, the only person you can blame is yourself if you get lost. So
Well, the crazy thing is, though, is they're also opening road, which is something else we don't do in America. Like 99% of the days, the bikes are literally going to Glamis after a huge windstorm and then driving across the sand dunes without a single track. So once the first guy goes, then the second guy can understand, like, all right, he brakes super hard on the sand, I'll go around. Or, oh, look, I could see where he went. Like, I can go off the sand dunes, right? Like, because they try to make it as hard as they can. So they'll put you in the sand dunes when there's valleys that'll have smooth points. So, like, dude, to lead it is gnarly for these guys because, like, there's nothing there. Like, the graded dirt roads, the fesh, there's no marks anywhere. And he's breaking ground.
So let's talk about the chess game of Dakar, Ricky, because there's some days where you win, some days where you don't win, and some of that is purposeful or not. Like you're trying to set up your next day's stages as well. I mean, there's some chess going on here.
yeah, there's people, believe it or not, on every team, every manufacturer that know what the course is like day after day, or sometimes someone on the team will know about the whole rally. So it's really important to have a good day on this day and a bad day on this day. It's all strategy. So on the days that we all start in a motocross start, like 15 bikes in a row, this day, if all the front runners are on the same line, you're not going to make any time up and you're not going to lose any time. So that day is typically like you definitely don't want to win that day. So at the end of the stage, a lot of people crash in the sand dunes or fall over, run out of gas. Yeah. So that way people on 2 or 3 rows back are pushing can win. So that's a scenario that me and Toby and Quintanilla had on day 8, the day I didn't finish, the day I lost Dakar. That day we all started really far back, because we knew what we were trying to do. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people on TV say, "Oh, what happened to Toby or what happened to Brabec? What happened to Quintanilla? Oh, so and so did good." But if you see, typically all the good guys finish more back, then there's a reason for that. And then the next day we all start more front. So that's kind of the game of rally.
And the day they started in the back was crazy overcast, up in the mountains, fesh. So like the scenario of playing chess was 100% correct because like. It was gnarly. I mean, for a UTV, you couldn't see 100 feet in front of you. Yeah. And the fog was bad, and then the fesh is like, I mean, like my best description of fesh, which is silt, it's like going to the Baja 1000 the day after the race and driving through the worst silt you could find in the middle of it and driving it like 3 times in a row.
Flat ground.
And flat ground.
Like the ground looks hard.
It looks like
perfect.
Yeah,
ground. Perfect ground.
That's how soft it is, though.
Didn't you guys get stuck in some of that stuff? Or Cole or somebody?
So that was the
Cole, let us know about that.
You did. He's pointing over there.
That was a good day.
What happened there?
That was day 4, right?
Day 4, so stage 4. I remember we had some issues, so we were dead last starting that stage, like dead last. They were pretty much packing up by the time we showed up to the starting line.
Yeah.
So we had no support. Usually they have like a sweeper. Nobody. So we're cruising along.
We did have a sweeper, but you didn't want to pull us out.
That's right. Yeah.
So.
But Blade didn't stop for anyone. It sounds like.
So we came down this valley. We're about 40K in, and there's like probably a minute split between the two of us.
Yeah.
And we just rolled up to this valley, and it just crusty. It looks super hard packed. So we're like, okay. We could see some spots where it was just
white,
dug out and white. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go around it to the right. And I felt it slipping, so I slammed on my brakes, buried the front end, and I'm like, geez, here comes Blade.
So I see him over there, and I'm like,
wide.
all right, well, he's stuck, so I'm going to help him, right? So I go over, and I'm looking. I stop, and Max is, like, pointing, go right. So I go up right, but I didn't go up high enough, and I just dropped down. And
he was probably going
that was like
70 miles an hour. And it just came to a dead stop.
Me.
Powder everywhere. So
I can explain like fetch. It's like baby powder.
Yeah.
Like really, it's like baby powder.
Yeah, like talcum powder.
Yes,
It's
baby
like
powder, and it sticks.
fine.
It sticks, and it gets in your eyes, and
it's like 2 feet deep.
Sounds like you guys had a great time.
They literally got in at like 4 or 5 in the morning, almost
On a good
every
day.
day.
yeah.
Like no lie.
So are they waking you guys up? You're hearing their
Oh, you
vehicles
just,
come
dude,
through?
like it's crazy. It's like we were.
Going into that day when we got stuck, we finally both got out, and we're literally 40K in, and the sun's already starting to go down. Like,
Yeah.
we're like, okay, well, what?
And
So
then,
we
and
end
then
up
you
start
took off
going.
and left me in.
Yeah, so that's what happened. So we get this fetch, and we both started going. And I thought I saw lights behind me, but I guess it was someone else. Cole ended up
Seeing
breaking. Would you
things.
break the front diff, right?
Yeah, so we lost 4-wheel drive, which it was impossible. I mean, we
Make it through
freaking
fetch, yeah.
So like there was another valley similar to that, but it was all destroyed. So we ended up going the wrong way, getting in the mountains. The sun's coming down, like we're in the fog, like surfing mountains, like rooftops, and then we just get so turned around and got stuck like 5 more times.
Yeah, so then I kept on going. I ended up making it to the end of that stage at, I want to say it was probably 5 o'clock in the morning. And then I had a 200K liaison after that. Made it back to the bivouac. That was, what day was that? That was day 5. So
Day 5, yeah.
that was marathon day.
Yeah.
So I broke a primary clutch. So I ended up fixing the primary clutch and
Yeah,
finished
on
that about.
marathon day, you have to work on your own stuff.
Yeah.
No support. So
Doesn't rally sound fun, guys?
Fixed that and ended up getting the car to where I could run again and went back. Robbie was already there, he's sleeping. And hopped in the shower for about 45 minutes because I wanted to clean off and
Hey, what are you doing in
hop
there?
back in the hop back in the car and went out there again the
If
next
you could
day.
find a 45-minute shower in Dakar,
Yeah, amen.
you're doing good.
Thank God, right? 'Cause
Might
I'd
finish at
fetch
5 in
all
the
over.
morning, but you're doing good for a 45-minute
Well,
shower.
that's one thing they don't tell you about those liaison deals. Like you'll get done and it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's like, all right, it's a 500 kilometer,
Oh,
liaison.
you're so optimistic going like, oh, tomorrow's gonna be easier. You know, this
Yeah.
can't get any harder than
No.
this.
But you'll
And
literally
double.
drive. It'd be like driving 250 miles on the highway in a UTV, fully suited up, like at speed limiter. So you, I mean, some of the towns you're going 30 miles, 30
That
miles
sounds
an hour.
rough to be in a car, huh? Driving on the highway.
Oh yeah, and yeah. Sure. Yeah.
What do the bikes do on the highway?
Dude, we get monkey butt like right away. We ride our bikes.
So you guys,
They split
you guys
traffic.
Rain,
too.
snow.
Split
Yeah,
traffic.
they can split traffic and stuff. We have to sit behind people. That's all
But
I
it's
get to do.
gnarly. Everybody
Pros and
though.
cons.
Quads have a gnarly.
Quads, yeah.
So, the reaction to the Americans, I mean, more Americans there is cool. You were saying, what about the fans? They're pretty excited to see some representation from the United States.
Yeah, I saw a couple American flags
Same
out
here.
there.
I did, yeah.
Same.
I
I
thought
saw
that
that.
was rad. I don't know if they were from America or not, but they were waving them.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
It's cool. I think everyone, like, even the TV stuff that goes on, I think they do a good job of promoting the Americans down there. And, like, I mean, we had no scares or anything that was gnarly, but there's definitely the Americans. Some people don't like it because they feel that, I don't know, they get more love than others. But, like, it's cool. Like, for us, like, or for my team, we are pitted next to the Honda team every night. And just how many people are coming up and wanting to see what's going on every single day. It's impressive. I mean, there's thousands of people in every town, no matter what time you pull in and out. Like, cameras are going off everywhere. People are lining the streets all the way around the bivouac. Everyone's partying. I mean, no one's allowed in the bivouac, but right outside the bivouac, I mean, it's a full-blown party every single night.
Especially in
Baja 1000 contingency outside the bivouac where you try to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, like,
at least.
Arequipa too.
yeah, Podium is like 350,000 people. It makes the contingency of 1,000 easy. Like, I would do that every single day rather than the Podium deal alone was insane. I mean, just to leave there is like an hour and a half to go 2 miles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
And Casey talking about not having any scares, but I saw a video, and Casey had a scare because he flew off a sand dune.
Oh.
Oh, no, that's different. I was understanding. Yeah, I did have a share there.
What happened? Let's hear the story, Ricky. What'd you see?
I don't know. Casey was maybe navigator's fault. I don't know, but Casey
Nah, it was
flew off
just
a
mine.
sand dune. For
Yeah, it was
sure.
mine. Dude, the sand turns into this. It's like called whiteout, and it everything.
Yeah.
Turns,
Flat,
it looks
flat
flat
white.
for miles, and I was trying to make up ground. Yeah, I definitely.
Oh, that's the one on the brakes flying off. That one? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that.
See, what's crazy
Yeah.
is I did that, and then the dude behind me ended up yard selling it. Bad. And then, but we saved 25 other competitors got saved from us, so it was good.
You did good.
Yeah, I did good.
It's a whole different realm at night.
Light sensor, sorry.
Yeah.
So, Ricky, what the hell happened?
Was there sabotage?
Yeah, was there sabotage? Did
Oh, that was
someone
2
mess
nights
with your
before.
motorcycle?
Someone did mess with my motorcycle.
On the marathon night?
On the marathon
Put
night.
your bike to bed?
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
sleep with it,
It wasn't
obviously.
marathons. It was actually the night before that.
So is
for
the,
you.
your bike doesn't sit in front of your rig or where
No.
you're sleeping?
No.
They all go somewhere.
It all go on this night. It all went to like a soccer field, and we all started earlier that day.
It was the day before.
We all started that
He
day like
left
3
on-
minutes apart, normal.
He left.
And then you just ride into the soccer field and put your bike there. We like covered up our equipment with the trash bag, for the rain. And then you don't even think about it. You just walk away and go to sleep. But then if you start up front, then obviously there's like 300 people behind you still coming. So maybe someone messed with my bike. I can't point fingers. But
Do you have you don't have to out it, but do you have an idea who might have
No.
done it? No.
No, because
What'd they do to it?
one fork tube was all the way in on my compression. The other fork tube was like almost all the way out, because it's factory suspension. So there's 40 clicks of compression and rebound. And then my shock was all the way in as well. And the flathead screwdriver, was stripped out. Because the next day, we were here last year in the same area, so I knew what we were getting into. And I wanted to go in on suspension, but I went to go do my shock to put like 4 clicks in, and it was all the way 40 clicks in and stripped out. So for sure,
Wow.
someone was playing with my bike.
That was one of the questions. Do you guys think that there's a bias against the U.S. riders or drivers from other, competitors or the ASO themselves, or do they not want to see an American win? Do you guys feel that when you're down there at all?
No, I just ASO is really strict for everybody. In Dakar they change the rules almost every day. They said this year was something new. You can't argue the road book, and
And you can't write in the road book either.
you can't modify the road book, and you can't argue the road book to say if it's wrong or not. But I forgot what stage it was. I lost 18 minutes trying to find a waypoint, and I said the road book was wrong, and the waypoint was in the wrong spot. The notes were kind of backwards, and they said no, the road book's right. But we go in the same area 3 days later with the modification in the same spot, going the same direction. So for them to say you can't argue the road book and then go ahead and change the road book for us 2 days later for the third day after is kind of a joke. But ASO is really strict, and they make rules as they go, for sure.
Yeah.
Sounds like an adventure all the way around.
Yeah, no, it's a great adventure.
So the bike was messed with. They change rules every day. What was the end? What ended up happening? I mean, obviously you guys put in a huge amount of effort. In the past, you guys were able to change complete motors at Dakar, but now you're not allowed to?
No, I don't think you're ever able to change a full motor. You're allowed to do the top end, but you can't split the cases.
Okay.
And I think for the cars, you can't.
Same.
You have to keep the same block or something.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. So we did a couple top ends, and unfortunately, that wasn't the issue that we had, and left me stranded at mile 35 or something.
Do you think that was sabotage, or was that just a part failure or something else?
No, I think it was a part failure for sure. All the sand dunes, the heat, like the temperature wasn't ever really hot. It was actually perfect racing weather, but just being in the sand dunes, and
It's got to
Really-
be tough on the equipment.
it's really hard on the equipment. In the sand dunes, I'm like one of the bigger rally guys, me and Toby, and to really put it down and have a good day, a fast day is really tough on the parts.
Well, hats off, of course, to Toby, one of our great friends here at Fishgistics, and a great friend of the United States. Ozzy bringing it home. I know that hurts a little bit here, but big plans for next year, right?
Yeah, well, for right now, yeah.
What about you, Casey? You going back next year? Going back with Can-Am?
Yeah, so I have another 2-year deal to go and do more. So we're gonna do better preparation this year, taking what I learned from the deal. We're gonna start Abu Dhabi in a couple weeks, and then I'll do Morocco, and then I'll do 2 more stage rallies, depending on when they announce a course. So I think in spring they'll announce Dakar for next year, and then we'll figure out where we'll go, and then we'll do 2 more stage rallies. But yeah, the plan is to go back as of right now.
How's the paradigm shift for Casey Currie? I mean, Ricky, we know is a factory Honda Monster Energy rider. He's going to be there doing Dakar. That's his thing. Still going to race the National Hare and Hound. But are you moving away from the Hammers racing? Are you moving away from the score racing to focus
I
more
don't know
on-
yet. It's kind of like it kind of got overwhelmed by finishing. I guess the whole American thing not finishing is happened so much in the past that like it's brought many new opportunities. So like since Dakar, I've had other teams reach out already, and I would say there's a lot of opportunity out there to do more of the Dakar stuff. It is new opportunity. It is very different in the aspect that a lot of the top drivers over there are paid salary drivers and not, having to get paid to run a team operation. So to get to, the chance to go and have a salary and try to actually compete at top levels, now I guess probably the next step in my career. But yeah, it's all changing rapidly. Dakar is like the real deal. Like those guys, the teams, the operations, the setup, what you see in America, like there's just nothing like Dakar. I mean, how much money and how many people it takes to run an operation over there, and like it's gnarly. Like it really is. And like to myself, like I think every American that races off-road should go down and fly. Like this year, if anyone, including yourself, to fly down to Peru, see the first 2 days of like all the podium and the first stage and how much goes into it. It's like it's phenomenal to see. I mean, it'd be like taking King of the Hammers or the Mint and saying every day the full operation at the Mint has to move 200 or 300 miles every single day. Like everyone at the Mint moves in and they set up their tents and their floor mats and the jacks. Like it'd be like taking that and moving it every single day. It's like, to us, it's almost impossible, but there you do it every single day and like go to different countries, and the challenge is real. So I definitely want to go back.
What about you guys? You going back? Have you guys talked about it? Talked to Robbie? Different plans? Or
we
are
had
you still recuperating from what you went through?
If we had homers,
Yeah.
I think if we could for sure have a legitimate OP1 class car, something fast, something we can run up front with.
Are you feeding us some information right now, Cole?
What
We
did
know
Robbie
that Cole
say?
likes to run fast and run up front. We got that part. We know that Robbie has the vehicles, right? Somewhere sitting around.
You could buy him back,
see.
right, from Yacine or whatever.
What did he say? I asked him that. He's like, "Why would I do that?" He's just,
Yeah, I
every
think
time you
you'd
build a
wanna-
race car, you build it better.
Yeah, I
So-
think you'd want to go something maybe a little lighter,
There
maybe
you
not a
go.
solider end too. And yeah, I would definitely go back. I mean, I would even go back in a Textron, to be honest with you. But I feel like this year was more of a learning curve for the Textron, the UTVs. They're still a young car. They're not really out there like a Can-Am is yet, or like a Polaris. And Robbie's definitely pushing hard to get those things up on the top. So, we figured out a lot at Dakar, and I would go back again and do it in one of those now. Now that we have the knowledge we have from this rally, I think that they can do probably a little better. So
Yeah, I will say though, the team we had there this year, despite all the challenges and issues we had, it was a great team. Especially being teammates with Blade and Robbie. God, if we would have had another year of experience behind us going into this, car-wise and experience-wise, I think would have done really phenomenal with that team.
Well, Robbie is definitely a great racing
Yeah.
mind, someone that really understands it and always brings the heat wherever he goes.
Yeah.
In multiple ways.
Yeah.
yeah,
What do you got, Fish?
Cole, you were the youngest one at the rally, right? Did they do something with the youngest person?
Yeah.
What's that
How
about?
fun was that?
yeah, he got the.
I thought they were joking. So yeah, you saw
Hey,
that.
first of all, Cole reads like a second grader. So to do this in front of how many people were there? You think?
Every
Every
driver.
dude.
Just the
Every
driver
racer was
meeting?
there.
Is that
Yes.
at the driver
Yeah.
meeting?
The first time we show up, and then the guy comes up to Cole, he's like, "Hey," he goes, "You're the youngest person here. Would you like to start off by reading this?" And Cole's like,
Just out of the blue.
"Sure."
So you had no
I
idea.
thought he got in trouble.
No, it wasn't.
No idea. It was like basically.
Like a
Introduction.
Yeah.
Introduction. to the
No,
car.
it wasn't. It was sort of an introduction. Basically saying that I wouldn't officially screw anybody over or hit anybody or wreck or something.
Because
along
you're the
lines.
youngest.
Basically covering them.
waiver.
Yeah.
He had to read like the back of an entry form. If you're under 16 years old, yeah, he had to read that.
But
How old are you? Yeah.
I just turned 20. I turned 20 halfway through the rally.
And how old are you, Blade?
I'm 22. I'm 20 as well.
20 also.
Yeah.
So what was the over? How much
how
did he
many
beat you
days?
by for that?
I'm December 8th. When are you?
January 12th.
A month.
Oh my gosh.
But he literally had to get up in front of the
Everyone.
entire co-drivers, and it was the first night. So every night they
was
do a drivers
terrifying.
meeting, but the big one is the first night. That's when everybody goes.
all
And he
awake.
literally had to, he had
Face was all
to
red.
sit up there
I
on a
got so red.
podium on this whole deal.
It was cool, though.
Following the trend, how old are you, Casey?
I'm 35.
And Ricky?
27.
27.
And Cameron,
I'm 50. Thank you. Thanks, Casey.
set it out there.
I'll remember to smack you around.
But
Don't forget, I am your editor and producer at Trail of Missions.
Yeah.
from the kids,
Never mess with
over
me,
here,
Master.
from the kids over here, I want to hear how the bivouac food was for you guys.
Just the pasta. Wouldn't eat anything else.
No?
No way.
Pasta and energy drinks for these kids.
I think I actually lived on the snacks they gave you. You know, with
And the lunch bag.
And your
the
lunch box.
bag.
Yeah, because so the first 2 days I ate there, I think the first day was like ribs or something. The second day was like meatloaf, and that just tore me up.
Dude,
Mystery
Tore
meat?
me up. Yeah, it tore me up.
when you get the brown sack on the motorcycle, if you can make it back to your camp with the bag not ripped or falling off your bike, is a good day also. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I lived on the boxes. I mean, it had graham crackers,
And tuna, just like
applesauce.
Missions, dude.
applesauce.
Same thing.
And
And the
applesauce.
Exactly.
What else did I have? I had a beef stick in there. I think I pretty much lived on that for the entire
Processed beef.
yeah, the entire 10
Sweet
days.
things
That's the
off
only thing I
bottom
didn't
of
tear
the
my
floor
stomach
at the
open. So.
slaughterhouse. All right. Well, we're going to wrap this segment up. The Dakar, obviously a big topic here over the last few months. We're looking forward to seeing you guys back there next year and whatever you decide to go on. We know what Ricky's doing for sure.
Yeah.
And, I think all of us here as Americans, we're proud to have you guys out there carrying the flag for us. And all the young guys, Casey and the UTV, and specifically you, Ricky, really held it down well. And in the face of adversity, you didn't come up spitting your teeth out and swearing and cussing and stomping your feet.
I did. The camera wasn't there yet.
His helmet was
But
far away.
you did a great job
Helicopter took too long.
representing.
Thank you.
But it's been a lot of fun having you guys here on Fishgistics. Next up will be the Parker segment, and then following that will be Jason Scherer and Luke McMillan when we come from the King of the Hammers. Any final parting thoughts, words, anything you guys want to say quickly?
Yeah, I just being like a complete rookie and an unknown guy, in this massive rally, it was just cool to see all the support from all the Americans, And
That's
it
true
just me, with like no fan base, relatively unknown, and just the amount of support I got, it was incredible.
Yeah,
people
especially
at home.
you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are definitely out there helping, keeping everyone up to date and everything. And it was cool to, kind of be like the relay, and you guys come back and post. And it was super good.
Dude, we totally forgot to talk about you getting your phone jacked out of your hand on
Oh,
the
yeah.
very
Oh,
first day.
there.
Oh, dude,
So wait, you had your phone
out the car?
Yeah. So
This is why he wasn't freaking
Okay.
Snapchatting anymore.
So like the first day we're gonna pick up the car. It's with Robbie and Kyle Robbins. We're sitting there, and Robbie doesn't want to turn the AC on in the truck for some reason. So I'm like, all right. So I roll down the window, and I had my phone, and I'm taking like a video of outside, and I come down to like look
Snapchat.
at my phone, and next thing I know, like my phone's not in my hands. Like I looked at Robbie, and I'm like, what just happened? And I put my head out the window. I see some little fat Mexican just booking. So I hop out the window, and Robbie hops out too, and he takes like 4 steps. He's like, stop! He's not gonna stop. So I end up chasing him down, like literally a mile, and he runs down this alleyway. And I'm like, oh God. So I go down there too, and he just shuts this big gate. And I go to shake it, and
It's like a movie.
couldn't open it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know what happened. When I was getting my phone stolen the first day I got to Peru, so I didn't have a phone. And then I told my mom. She's like, all right, well, we'll cancel the old one.
You should have seen him. I hooked him up with an iPad.
Yeah.
Big iPads. He's walking around with the iPad for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, do you have your mom's phone number memorized so you can call her?
Yes, I do.
Just making sure, because nowadays no one remembers anybody's phone numbers with the phone. But yeah, it's now a funny story. But
Yeah, it
I
wasn't
think
at
the
the
Robbie
time.
giving chase is almost as funny as the phone being stolen. But we can't really pick on Robbie too much.
Dude, it gets better because after he realizes his phone's gone, Robbie rolls up and who's side by side? The blue one.
Mine.
Yeah, his.
Robbie's doing Robbie things outside the hotel with an upside down box. So now there's fittings and screws and washers and bolts all over the highway. Like he's doing Robbie things around the hotel. Now they're all in the street walking, picking up parts. And Robbie's just thinking, oh man, how long was it upside down? Because he drove from the port to the hotel.
Yeah.
Good times at Dakar.
First
Oh, yeah.
day.
Any idea where we're going next year for Dakar? Anybody
There's
have
new
an idea?
rumors now.
Saudi
Arabia is
Africa,
so.
but probably Peru.
Yeah,
The rumors are out there.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
like Argentina, Peru, Chile.
I'm just saying, let's get the ASO to do a race in the United States, and we're going to close it on that.
Impossible.
It would be so awesome to be able to race in the U.S. or Mexico, either one. I know we're racing Sonora Rally as ASO, but that's going to do it for the Dakar segment here on Fishgistics, courtesy of KMC. We're going to move forward with the Parker segment. We'll have Cole Potts stay on. We'll have Christian Sourapas, and we'll get a call in from the Parker winner, Brett Sourapas, and then after that, the big King of the Hammers wrap up with Luke McMillan. And, of course, Jason Scherer, your 3-time king, when we return. More in just a moment.
Basically, if anything happens, it's always the GPS's guy's fault. We had a little incident 2 days ago when we were out giving some rides and ran out of talent.
Some pretty cool historic footage there from Pistol Pete Soren. Of course, we're all missing our good buddy Pete. And cool to see some Desert Assassins logos in there. Pete and I obviously did some racing together and great friends. And you always think about Pete when you're talking about Parker, which is what we're going to talk about now, Ricky. Are you going to talk about Parker? You were out there. I saw you. Straight back from Dakar, straight to Parker.
I was in Parker. Parker 250 is actually one of my favorite races on a bike. I've done the 425 one time in my dad's Class 1 car. And
I don't think a lot of people know that you have a Class 1 car.
yeah, it costs a lot of money to race those things.
It costs a lot of money to race a factory Honda Dakar, too. I'm just here to tell you.
Yeah, but when it's not coming out of your own pocket to get there.
All right, well, let's welcome Brock Heger into 6100 class. He's no longer just a pretty buggy dork. He's now a good-looking truck guy. And Cole Potts returns, and Christian Sourapas. Of course, 2 years ago, his incident with the cow at Parker was infamous. This year, a podium finish for you. Been going really fast. Your brother obviously winning. We're going to get a call with Brett here in a few moments. And like I said, in just a little bit, we're going to go King of the Hammers crazy with you with Luke McMillan and Jason Scherer. But right now, let's talk about Parker real quick, all right? So first things first, with the unlimited trucks, you and your brother, I got to ask you because, I mean, there's got to be – first of all, you guys are twins. A lot of people don't know that. What's the separation?
4 minutes.
And who's older?
I am.
All right, so you're the dominant brother is what you're saying.
Yeah, the alpha male.
So when you guys go into the race, you know you guys are going to be racing against each other. I'm sure you got your dad's heart going the whole time. Is there some stress there from the beer man, as they like to call him?
Oh, yeah. So the plan was he was just going to be in the main pit. Brett and I both knew that wasn't going to happen. The day before the race, we found out they had a helicopter, which was pretty typical of him. So he was going to be up there the entire time watching us duke it out. So it was pretty cool. I actually felt really good about this race between Brett and I. And that's what ended up happening. We got 2 really good finishes.
So Brett racing the 88 Coors Light truck, and you were racing.
I was the 51 all red Terrible Herps truck.
Nice. How was it to be back in the retro colors?
Oh, I loved it. I just remember being a little kid and seeing the red, and that was Terrible Herps, and they were up front winning. And then these last few years, they were in black with Monster. So to be able to remember Jerry, who's done so much for that team and is a true pioneer of off-road, to be able to bring those red trucks back out for 2 races meant the world to the team, meant the world to the 3 brothers, Ed, Timmy, and Troy. And I think he'd be up there proud seeing that those red trucks were up front.
For sure, and everybody thinking about Jerry Herbst passed away just a couple months ago. The boys paying homage to their father, who had done so many great things for off-road racing by going back to the retro red. And, moving on to Cole, talking about your efforts now, you're basically a madman out there. I had to race against you this particular time. We had a little bit of a steering issue, but finishing second at a huge off-road race. I mean, Parker is one of those top-level races. That's got to be a great confidence booster for you. And don't get me wrong, you've been fast, you've done great, but getting on the podium at the big race is a whole different thing.
Oh, for sure. Just a lot of hard work went into this one, more especially the testing time we had on this truck. It was great to have it, finally play off, but there's no excuse for not finishing. It doesn't matter where you're running. You don't finish, you know what I mean? So just kind of put my head down and, just felt good about this one.
What was the gap at the end between yourself and Brett? And obviously, Christian, you were chasing Cole as well. So what was the final finishing times?
I've heard anywhere up to 10 seconds to 36 seconds to a minute. So
when I saw the official results, I think it was Cole a minute 36 behind Brett, and then the 51 with Troy coming in 14 seconds slower than Cole, and then Tracy Graff, who got 4th, was 10 seconds behind Troy. So the top 4 were separated between 2 minutes.
That's a pretty tight racing group. For those that care, Jesse Jones and I raced. We were running in the top 3 or 4 there on the second lap and had a steering gear failure, which I've never had something like that happen in the truck. It started earlier on Jesse and just got worse on me. But by the time we threw in the towel, we were doing 6-point turns to make the big, tight corners. And Fish, you have the results?
Yeah, the results are right here. So
all right, well, the statistician has spoken.
Yeah, here we go. So it was Brett at 6:45.57, then Cole at 6:47.36, so less than 2 minutes back, and then the 51 at 6:47.46, so 10 seconds between Cole and the 51.
Pretty amazing. That's some tight racing. We're talking about trick trucks. Sorry,
13 seconds to 4th place after that.
Yeah, that's a tight group for sure. So, and the catalyst there for the top 3, bunch of young rats. In case you guys didn't notice that, Rob and I have been preaching that the seasoned veterans have been dominating, but this time around the kids had the final word. Do you guys think about that at all when you're out there? Being the younger faces of the sport, or are you just going out there going for it?
I mean, I think it certainly helps with guys like you that have experience. I think Rob is the poster guy to knowing how to play the game right. He'll be 3 minutes down on the last lap and then beat you by 6 minutes. And he does that all the time, where I saw him do it with the 500 this last year, where I think Luke was beating him the last 50 miles and then somehow, some way, ended up winning by like 2 minutes, I think. So hopefully I get that right, because Luke's going to kick my ass if I get it wrong. But,
yeah, speaking of statisticians, Luke and Andy like their stats quite a bit. What about you, Cole? You feel the pressure of being a youngster? I mean, your dad obviously raced trophy trucks and kind of has handed the reins off to you. You guys have a couple trucks, right? You have a Geyser and you have a Racer, or you have a Geyser and a Robbie? What are they?
Geyser and a Racer.
Geyser and a Racer. But you're racing the Racer?
Yeah, yep. Just trying to, get things set up the way we like it. And like I said, things are finally paying off, so it's super cool.
Do you benefit from some testing help with Robbie? Do you guys work together on that stuff? I know you're sponsored by Speed Energy, so do you guys work together on that?
Yeah, Robbie's really helped me out the last year, same with Blade and myself. I mean, we were just, I try to be a fly on the wall with him. He's, just full of knowledge, and it's cool that he's willing to share it, and take me under his wing, and Blade as well. But definitely help with testing. I mean, he's got some trick setups and, some really, really cool knowledge and just old school tactics, just everything good happens within the berm and not outside the berm. It's just been great for me. So
yeah, and if you ever watch anybody race at Parker, or you see videos, Robbie is always a standout
when it comes to racing those high-speed graded roads, and I tip my hat to him. He's definitely one of the quickest ever on those fast roads. Let's shift it over here to Brock. First of all, how old are you, bud?
19.
19.
Yep.
You guys better hurry up with your career because this dude's coming to try to steal your sponsors. I'm just telling you. So you made the shift. We've been talking about you all year at the Lucas Oil Series, and, of course, you've had great success in the 10 car. But you were a buggy dork, and then all of a sudden out comes this red and white Method-sponsored 6100 truck. I mean, kind of cool to see you shifting gears a little bit. Were you excited about it?
Yeah, no, it was cool. And I mean, this whole desert thing just kind of came up, and I wasn't going to go into it this soon. I was going to kind of do my short course stuff and do that, get that all handled, and then make this change over. And then, the 10 car came up, and I've always hated buggies. I never really liked them. I've always kind of been a truck guy, so I kind of hated
revelation
those.
there.
And then the whole 6100 thing came up, and it was cool. We were coming into it not sure how we were going to do. I knew it was going to be good, and we went out there and qualified and didn't even finish qualifying, so that started
You're
out
like,
rough.
that's not a good way to start.
Yeah, so.
But you know what? It taught you something. I think it's something, we used to do way back in the day. If you rear start, you know where you're at all day. You pass someone, you never have to worry about them on time. So although it's hard to pass at Parker in some cases, it must have been cool to know right where you were all day long.
Yeah, and I mean, especially my short course racing, everyone's like, oh, Brock's qualifying, like 6100. They're all thinking I was going to P1 it in qualifying. So it was cool to start in the back. I mean, the whole 10 car stuff, my first race in a 10 car, which was Parker, I started dead last. So, I was kind of back to where I started, and it was fun. I always liked starting in the back because then like, okay, I passed 5 cars. I'm obviously doing pretty good on time, and, it's always in your head.
For sure. And what happened in qualifying?
Transmission. Converted.
Your fault or?
No.
It's always the navigator's fault, just in case you're wondering. Now that you have 2 seats, always blame the navigator.
Yeah, he's the one who has all the temps and stuff. So
yeah. He should have told you he's getting hot in the sand. Ricky, what do you think? Is he telling the truth?
I mean, I would have blamed the navigator for sure.
I'm with you on that. Give me some love on that, Ricky.
If you have transmission temperature failures or something wrong in qualifying, I think there is something more than just the driver and navigator. Because what's qualifying, like 4 miles?
6 miles,
yeah,
maybe.
Come on.
I think it was. Yeah.
Well, so how'd you feel in the truck? Obviously, you won. I mean, were you able to pass everybody in the class?
No, I ended up second on the road finishing, so that was cool.
Ruined your perfect story, huh?
I did the whole thing, but no, it's fun. I mean, trucks are pretty insane.
Who built that truck?
Tisco.
That's a Tisco.
Yeah.
Nice. They build nice vehicles for sure.
Yeah, no, but I mean, they're cool. I mean, you pretty much hit anything, I feel like, that I know so far, so.
How cheap is a truck like that?
A little more expensive than your motorcycle.
I don't know if it's more expensive than his motorcycle. Just saying.
No, for sure it is.
Yeah, no. They're expensive, but it's fun.
That's what's cool about the 6100s. Like, they have so much suspension that, like, the motor is underpowered for that truck.
Yeah.
It's a trophy truck with a smaller motor. So you can pretty much go, it seems like, as fast as you want to go.
Well, you generally would say that you can drive it as hard as you want all day long and you won't hurt the drivetrain, but he proved us wrong on that right out of the gate.
Well, that's when I asked kind of like Tisco and stuff. I was like, "What's in a brake on these things? Like, what's their limit?" And then he's like, "There's no limit. Like, you can drive it as hard as you want, but the only thing that's gonna break is if you do something for it to break."
Yeah. Don't tip it over.
Yeah.
So you've never drove a truck. Parker was your first time.
I think I had about
That's
40 miles in it before.
He's a driver. He's a wheelman for sure. If you haven't watched a short course racing, dude can drive.
That's pretty. Yeah, but short course and Parker, I think, is different by a lot.
You think so? Are you picking on me?
A little bit.
You call me stupid?
No.
Oh, I was just checking. So break it back down, talking about the racing of the unlimited trucks, right? The speeds. I mean, you were racing in the same class with him, as him in the 6100s not that long ago. What's the difference for, when you talk about the capability of the truck, the speed of the truck for people that aren't really familiar, trophy truck versus 6100 truck? It's virtually, if you ask for most people, it's virtually the same thing with 300 less or 400 less horsepower. Mm-hmm. Fact, not fact?
I think with 6100, it really comes down to the driver. I think if you put a really good trophy truck driver in there with a less superior truck, I still think that they're going to go out and kick everybody's ass. Where in trophy truck, if you don't have the truck and the talent, it's really hard. The pace has gotten, by the time Brett and I both got into trophy truck, is where we kind of saw the pace sort of take off. You got guys like Luke and Dan and Andy McMillan, Rob Mack, Cameron Steele, running up front.
Everybody's gonna pick on me now. It's all right. Go ahead, keep it up.
Where in 6-100, it's sort of the same, in my opinion, the same 2 or 3 guys, running the show. Now you got Brock Heger, and like he was saying, he had pressure to qualify first. Well, that's because everybody has such high expectations because 6-100 only has a select amount of guys who can really throw it down. Like Blade Hildrbrand didn't race this one race, so he'll be at the Mint, so you'll see a little bit of a more stacked field at the Mint. But to answer your question originally between 6-100 and trophy truck, if you ever get in a trophy truck, it's going to ruin you. I mean, Blade, was 6-100 the same? No, so once you get into a trophy truck, I remember getting back into my the former Pacifico truck that's now owned by Bill Macbeth of the Cosmopolitan and thinking that this thing's a slug. So to be able to drive those things fast, it's really a finesse truck, and sort of, I've never driven a 1600, but I sort of would feel like that's kind of like that, because if you go in, pound off berm, slam on the brakes, and don't really carry your speed through the turns, you can sort of get away with that in trophy truck to an extent, but in 6-100, it's super important to be able to carry your speed and think like a chess player, 2 steps ahead.
The momentum is key. Mm-hmm. You ever drive a 1600 car?
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. You drive one, Cole?
Yeah, that's what I grew up on.
There we go. 1600 cars. I mean, you ever drive one? No, you ride dirt bikes. Yeah, don't even know what we're talking about, do you?
No, I know what you're talking about. 1600 cars, right?
Yeah.
That's a good class. Isn't it?
Maybe.
It's like a unlimited Volkswagen engine, right? Or
limited 1600 cc. Has no horsepower really. I think it's like 70 horsepower. Yeah. So on your 6100 truck, Brock, you in there all day long?
No, I got out the start of the 3rd lap.
Who did that? Who was your partner?
His name's Eric Delaney. He actually owns the truck, so it's kind of nice. And I gave it to him with a pretty good lead, and he held it. He had 2 flat tires, which is kind of a bummer for him, but he was able to hold it, and that was cool.
Right on. And you go all the way, Cole?
Yeah, I planned to split the race straight down the
How'd
middle.
you like my dust there for a little bit? You like that?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was solid effort.
Were you wondering as the dust started getting slower what was going on?
Yeah, I'm like, what?
What? Hey, wait a minute.
No
and then,
way.
were you surprised that we pulled over? You must have been surprised. No one ever pulls over.
No, yeah, no. I was trying to be courteous as well. No shame. I got caught by Harley.
Yeah.
Dude was on a mission, but fortunately he wrecked right in front of me. So.
Fortunately or unfortunately?
PC.
Did you-
That's all I got to say about that.
It wasn't a big crash though, right? Didn't look too scary.
No. We slowed down, made sure it was okay. Saw the helo flying, so
It's all good.
it's all good. But yeah, no, I appreciated that for sure.
Yeah, we were stinking up the track for a little bit there. How at the end there on that last lap? I mean, you're within a couple minutes. Are you on go? Are you going for that win, or are you thinking let's keep this podium together?
Normally,
that's for me. Back 5 years ago, I would have been like, okay, a podium would be great. Let's make sure we don't mess this up. Now it's like we're going for the win. So where are you at in that situation now?
the boss man made it easy on me. He'd shoot me out in the pit, said, "You got to go." So
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, your boss man meaning your dad, Craig.
Yeah. So that was when Blade was supposed to get in. He's like, "No, it's too close. You got to stay in and go." So we're kind of going back and forth there for a minute on the loudspeakers. I'm sure a lot of people heard it, but but he made it easy. He basically put the blame on him. Said, "You just drive as fast as you can." So that's what we did.
Well, sometimes you got to take the relationships, the personalities, and the feelings out of racing. If you have someone that's been in the car for 2 laps and they're running for the win, they're right there. Sometimes the best move is just leave that guy in who just pre-ran 2 laps, knows exactly what the car is doing or where it's at, instead of putting someone fresh in there. Sometimes it's just a better decision. So
It worked out.
Yeah. We're going to see your dad back in the race car sometime soon?
I'm trying. I'm trying. I'd love to see him out there. I know. I'm sure some people have seen it, but we were at Rage of the River 2 years ago, and I was still in school, so I missed qualifying, and he obviously didn't qualify. And we were side by side, like trophy trucks, racing next to each other, like banging doors, bumper to bumper. And that was the most fun I've ever had in my life. So I'd love to see him out again for sure.
Yeah, your dad's not afraid to put on the go pedal, huh?
Dude, he's fast for about 50 miles. I think we can.
vision gets blurry.
All right, well, I think what we ought to do now is you guys want to call the winner? Sorry, you guys didn't win. Well, you won. 6100. What were you overall?
I don't know that one.
We'll leave it to Fish to
Let's
get that
see,
information. We're going to call Brett Sourapas.
He was 7 hours
Boo.
and 20 minutes was his time.
What do you guys think? Brett Sourapas is going to red button me, or he's going to answer?
Red button.
What do you guys think?
I'd answer your phone call.
Looks like 10th overall.
Thank you, Ricky. I appreciate that.
That's pretty good. 10th overall.
10th overall, top 10. Solid.
Beat a couple of trophy truck guys, too.
Hey, can you guys hear Brett there? Oh, you tell me to turn it up? Wait, I'm getting another call. Should I answer it?
You guys hear me?
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. I'm trying to turn it up, but my phone doesn't want to.
You hold
It's
and
on
decline.
speaker.
Hold
I
and
know.
decline.
How?
Where it says hold and decline right there, no?
No, it says hold and accept or end and accept. There we
There you
go.
go.
Now I get rid of it. Don't. You yelling at
Come on,
me?
Cameron, figure it out. You need fish?
I need Fish. You're on. Hey, Brett Sourapas, welcome to the Fishgistics. This is kind of weird. You're on the phone, too lazy to come in. I understand how it is. He's at school, right, Christian?
Yeah, he's in beautiful Tucson, Arizona.
Right on. So, Brett, first of all, congratulations on kicking your older brother's butt at the Parker race.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It was fun.
It was a good time, I'm sure. You guys have been battling quite a bit. Talk about the win. Was it a smooth day all day, and was it just clear sailing, easy, not even worried about Cole or your brother?
Yeah. So,
And they're
I mean,
both sitting
we
right.
were-
They're both sitting right here.
Oh, I'm watching. So it was a qualifying was a good run. I mean, I didn't think I'd put down the second fastest lap time and losing the pole by 0.07 of a second, but it was cool to get up front. Finally, able to be up front, not have to chase some guys. And luckily, when we went off the start, Justin pulled over around mile 18, mile 20th. So it was cool to actually get to lead the race physically on time and just in the race in general. And I didn't get to pre-run, so I was kind of just making little mental notes on the first lap, just trying to stay alive, not do anything stupid, just take notes on the GPS. And coming on the Riverside Drive, all I see is my brother. He put about 2 minutes on me. I see Voss come in. I hear Harley's come in. All of a sudden, I feel like I'm 4th or 5th on time. But after the past 2 years, I've always been there at the end, so I knew what my game plan was. I didn't change my pace whatsoever. Just stuck with what I wanted to do to win the race. And actually, my brother caught me. He didn't pit in the main pit, and right when I pull out, I just beat him out, and he's right on my ass.
I was there to witness that one. I'm sure it was pretty exciting heading towards Shea Road.
I don't think he was too happy, but I was laughing. I knew I had the track position. I knew I had the tires, the fuel, and Shea Road was pretty nasty this year. I don't know if that had to do with a little bit of the rain or what, or people were pre-running more, but the holes got pretty big, and I was able to kind of walk away from Christian on Shea Road in the wash and just never looked back. All of a sudden, just started clicking miles. Heard no one was within 3 or 4 minutes of me, and we just got into a really fast groove. And then all of a sudden, on the last lap, all I hear was Potts is about 3 minutes behind you at midway. So I just basically said, all I got to do is play it smart, not get a flat tire, and we'll wrap this thing up and win. And then comes down to it, Cole's able to put a minute and a half on me, so he scared me for a second. But we're really fortunate to get the win. Really excited for the team, first ever overall win. Couldn't be happier, but we're on to the next. We're looking forward to winning more. I want to prove this wasn't just a fluke thing.
Right on. Christian, you had something you wanted to say there?
Oh, well, a couple things. First thing, what can I say about BF Goodrich tires? I got Nate right there from BFG. Brett and I didn't have a single flat, and I knew that Brett was going to pit at the main pit, and knowing how we were doing on fuel and trusting the tires completely, we were going to push the envelope a little bit and go to pit 1. So as I was in Brett's dust, I knew he was going to pit. So from the finish line to the main pit's about 4 or 5 miles, so I ran pretty close to a qualifying pace trying to catch Brett. We get into the main pit, and I see him up there, and we're both on 25 miles per hour as hard as we can, going vroom, 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 the entire time. I see Brett pull in, and what sucked about that was it was actually the Terrible Herps guys pitting Brett's truck. So I was hoping that they might have trouble taking the tire off, or they might have a slow fuel. And as I was going, that was the slowest 25 miles per hour of my life. I was getting so close. I see him in the pits, and right as I'm about ready to pass the pit, I see the jack drop. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to pull out in front of me. He jams onto the throttle and pulls right out in front of me. I'm 6 inches off his bumper pretty much for the whole rest of the way. And I was freaking out. I was so angry because I wanted to take the lead over. And right as we got to the resume race speed, Brady Thompson, my co-driver, knew I was probably going to do a bonehead move. So right at the resume race speed, Brett took off. And I tried to take off too, but he kept me on the limiter and gave Brett at least a good, I would say, 20-yard gap. So I couldn't really dorm or anything. But, I mean...
Getting managed by your navigator happens.
Oh, yeah, no, I give him credit because we probably would have wrecked each other.
Like that
My dad
right
would have
there?
been in the helicopter having a stroke.
What's the penalty for overspeed? Can you float around 25 or can you go to 26?
We'll have to ask Rob Mack.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Would it have been worth it to go 26 or 27?
I'm not going to confirm nor deny that both Brett and I were exactly at 25 miles per hour the whole time.
We'll just leave it at that. Hey, Cole, so at Midway, did you get the information from your team that you're only, 3 minutes out of the win?
The only time I had radio communication was lap 2, main pit, when Blade was supposed to get in. We were just all over the radio. And
Snapchatting.
The last thing he said was, hey, you're fourth. You're X amount of time down. So
you had no idea when you got to the finish line that you were that close to the win?
Drove as fast as I humanly possibly could.
That's
all I did.
He was giving it all, Brett, trying to chase you down, buddy.
Yeah, he was clicking. I mean, putting a minute and a half in the last 40 miles is pretty freaking fast.
Wasn't enough, but
well,
maybe get better time splits.
Well, congratulations, Brett, on the win. That's your first major overall. It's a really awesome accomplishment to have. I know Christian won a Laughlin race recently, so Sourapas brothers doing work out there.
Yeah, it's fun. We're looking forward to the future, and we're here for the long run. So this class is pretty fast. So just to know that we're out there actually competing for wins it's pretty incredible.
This class is pretty fast. You might want to put that quote down right there. Yeah, pretty. You got that, Fish? Any questions for any of these guys, Fish? Come on, do your job instead of just chirping at me.
I know I was looking over there. Oh, there's 6100 question, but nothing for Brett. It's probably.
All right, so we're gonna tell Brett goodbye, maybe.
Yeah.
Brett, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you, Fish. Thank you, Cameron, for everything you do, keeping everyone involved. I mean, this whole Fishgistics thing growing, just everyone getting insight. I mean, even for drivers, it's cool to see. You only know so much of what people tell you, what the word is. But, I mean, this is a really cool thing, and I appreciate all you guys do for the sport.
Say, hey, Brett, it's Ricky. Guess what I heard?
Hey, Brett, it's Ricky. Guess what I heard?
What'd you hear?
So anyway. Peace out, Brett. We love you, Brett, but it's time to go.
We do have a 6100 question here.
Let's have
kind
it.
of a big deal. So there's the F1 driver. You guys probably know about this. The Jensen Button is coming to race the Mint. So we had 3 people ask the same question. What do you think? Are you intimidated by an F1 driver coming? Are you going to smoke him at the Mint? What's going on with that?
I've actually never heard of that guy.
Perfect.
But no, I'm not worried. I mean, I'm kind of young. I don't really worry about anything really. I just kind of strap in and go for it. So
Perfect.
and that's cool. He's going out, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe if you beat him, then you could try to take his F1 ride.
Yeah, maybe I'll meet him one time.
That was a major question we had from a couple different people, Cameron.
For sure, I saw that announcement. Of course, Mint 400 coming up. Some of you guys going?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Well,
talk about
different.
Ricky. What's Ricky doing?
I'm racing a motorcycle.
I gotcha. I heard there's a big announcement coming. Is that in the wind yet? Can we talk about it? Who your partner's going to be? Or are you going solo?
I told Johnny I wanted to go solo, but Johnny doesn't work like that, and to be smarter is obviously better. So there's gonna be a partner, and the cat's out of the bag tomorrow. But I'm sure a few of you out there already know.
You're not going to tell us.
I don't know if
Johnny!
I mean,
Johnny, are we allowed to talk about this yet?
I'm sure. As long as I don't, you can say it. We can call him.
We'll call him at the next commercial, which is coming up.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
we can confirm it.
We can call him. We'll figure it out. But, yeah, so you're racing a bike. Different course, though. I heard there's going to be single track, or what do you know?
I heard that the single track didn't get approved, so it might be like half of the truck loop, which I think is going to be like the Henderson loop really fast for a bike at least.
Copy.
It might just be the lower loop of the trucks. I don't know.
And Brock, you and your partner Eric going back for the mint?
Yep, we're gonna go for it again.
What about you two guys? Unlimited trucks coming your way?
Yeah.
Yep, back in the trophy truck class.
Back. So you're racing with
Or
Troy?
trick truck is to say trick truck.
That's okay. I won't. You're not in trouble here. This
Yep.
is a safe zone.
Yep.
I think Roger said we're okay to call them trophy trucks on the show.
Okay. Thanks, Roger.
Seems legit.
And you're coming back? You guys both soloing, or you're racing with Troy?
Yep,
Yeah.
splitting it.
Solo.
Solo. What about your teammate, Robbie Gordon? Is he coming?
He's MIA after the rollover.
Copy. After the rollover, he's MIA. So, Blade, give Blade the mic real quick. How was the rollover at King of the Hammers? We're going to transition. We're going to come right back with Jason Scherer and Luke McMillan. But a couple quick questions for these guys. Blade, how was the rollover in the Gordon truck? What happened? Bad navigating, obviously.
Oh God, played a navigator.
You would have thought you would have learned in Dakar.
No, it was a simple little rollover. It really was. I mean, we're coming on the dry lake bed. During qualifying and coming out of the infield, we kind of had a different line than everyone else. You know, Robbie really wanted to save the truck because KOH was a nutrition race for sure on the truck. So and we stepped out wide, and Wilson got underneath us and kind of took off on the dry lake bed, and Robbie just hunted him down 141 miles an hour, not lifting. And we came to that first checkpoint. We dropped down to 25 miles an hour and wanted to stay left. We ended up staying straight, and we caught up in some creosotes and just put the truck over on the side and dropped back down the track, and it was just too far of a gap down, and tried to turn into it, but it just wasn't enough, so ended up cracking the radiator. And,
So you flipped at 25 miles an hour, not at 141.
we're going, yeah,
No,
we're slowing down to it, so it was probably at like 30
He
miles
pleads
an
the
hour.
fifth.
30 miles an hour.
And how long was that gap time-wise from 140 to flipping, just out of curiosity?
It was fast. I mean, he just jammed on the brakes. I mean, we were probably going at least 40 miles an hour. It wasn't really bad. I mean, it was going over for a second time. He did a good job. He turned into it, got on the gas, sat it down.
Yeah, got it back on the wheels.
Yeah, sat it down, and he looked at me. He's like, "You all right?" And I just had like boogers, like dirt. all in my
your face shield popped up a little bit, right?
Boogers there. I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." He gets on the gas, and his radiator fluid just coming, like, just spraying all over me. And I'm like, "Yeah, I can't see." He goes, "Oh, I can see. I'm fine." I was like, "All right, well, go ahead." And he ended up just stopping. He pulled over one time. He's like, "You think we're good?" I was like, "No." And he gets back on the track, goes again. But he decided to pull over and call it and got it towed back. And he got it fixed, but we timed out. So it was a good
Gotcha.
experience to ride with the man.
Right on, Blade. Well, great to meet you, and good times. And we're going to shift gears to King of Hammers. Any words from you guys here at closing? Any thoughts, comments, shout-outs, sponsor plugs, shameless fun? Okay. In that case, we're going to leave it at that.
I guess congratulations to Brett, for sure, and Christian out there too at Parker. I mean, man, I said it at the finish line. I remember saying it's a blast racing with your friends, and especially being in a small category of itself, with younger guys racing and coming up. It's just a blast, being up front like that with these guys. It's awesome.
All right, well, you young guys had your good race so far this year. You guys just keep it over there now. Don't worry about it. We'll see you guys in Baja. You stay back a little bit, all right?
How would trophy truck racing be without radio communication to your pit guys? Because us on a bike, we don't have communication.
Never thought about that.
A lot more broken stuff.
That'd be interesting.
No, I'm open for whatever. As long as everybody does the same thing, it's all good with me.
But that'll never happen.
Make up the rules. That's going to do it for this Parker segment here, Fishgistics at Baja HQ. Remember, if you guys are local in the area, come on down. These guys are going to be hanging out for a few minutes after the show, and we'll have a little bit of fun. Jason Scherer, Luke McMillan coming in hot for the King of the Hammer segment. I think Casey might come back and talk UTVs. I'm not sure, but for the most part, we're going to have more fun talking about what happened on the lake bed just a couple weeks ago. Thanks again, you guys. Congratulations on a great Parker. Ricky and I are going to hang out, and we're going to boot you guys to the curb, but thanks again for being a part of it. When we come back, King of the Hammer is here on Fishgistics.
It was a flawless day for us. We had a great day, and yeah, we got going, and then about mile 20, I could see all 4 guys in front of me. I went, okay. I thought I was running conservative, but I also felt really good. The truck was handling awesome, and so I'd get a little distracted. I said, put your head down, put your head down, put your head down. I told myself that probably 100 times a day, and just keep driving. And I drove the same way all day. Made 2 or 3 mistakes, but other than that, I mean, the truck handled amazing, and the team did an amazing job. I think my team, my sponsors, the Goodrich Tires, at the race wheels, and everyone else behind us. Thank you.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome back to Baja HQ. Cameron Steele and Ricky Brabec co-hosting today. Hi, Ricky. How are we doing so far?
Still holding in there. Learning a lot.
Not causing you any stress?
No, I'm learning a lot about these trucks and stuff.
Straight out of the high desert factory, Honda Monster Energy Team Dakar racer. We talked to him a little bit earlier, but now we're shifting gears to the Nitto King of the Hammers, and of course the Toyo Tires T1 race presented by Monster Energy. And Casey is here as well. I don't know the title sponsor of the UTV race.
I think it's Can-Am now.
I think it is Can-Am, actually. You're right. So big props to all those companies for sponsoring a huge event. First time ever in the house. Welcome Jason Scherer to the program.
Thanks, Cam.
Stoked to have you here at Fishgistics and Baja HQ. Yeah, you guys can make some noise out there. Come on. Yeah. We're having fun. So, Jason, I got to start with you, man, because, seeing your smile at the finish line the last couple of years has been massive, obviously. You worked hard to get back there from the first time winning the King of the Hammers, but now 3-time king, first time back-to-back. Is that sinking in on you, buddy?
Not yet, I don't think. But, it's definitely been a lot of fun kind of riding the high with everybody in our team and enjoying it. It's one of those things that the accomplishment still hasn't, settled in. But, you work so hard for it all the time.
The dogs are excited about you being here.
They're pumped, dude. I got away with dogs. I love them. But yeah, it's super cool. We're just all so stoked. Everybody's still excited.
What year was your first year at King of the Hammers? Were you there the very first year?
I was a co-driver in 2008. And, it's funny because, some of the race course was the same. So I remember riding along, on air shocks, going through the MDR course at 40 miles an hour, and we couldn't keep it straight. We couldn't keep it in the middle of the lane at 40. And now it's just where it's gone, it's crazy.
So the first year I went, I believe, was also 2008, which was the second year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It was the first official year.
Yeah, and I navigated with Brad Lovell, and of course I was already racing trophy trucks, and I got in the so they brought me out there to drive Roger's truck, and I was like, dude, I know nothing about the rocks. I'll just navigate. I'll build your goggles for you guys. And so I rode with Brad, and we're going through the bumps, right? And the thing starts going like this. Somebody get the dog. Where's the owner of the dog?
It's not here, but I'll take it.
But we're going through the bumps, right? And the thing's, doing this stuff, right? And I'm like, oh, wow. And I look up, and the cage is about O2 thin, right? And I'm sure that's all changed now. Now there's big tubes. And then later on in the day, we're up on top of maybe Wrecking Ball or something up on the top above. What's up there?
Fissure Mountain? Or were you up on Fissure that year?
Maybe it was Fissure, yeah. It comes down. And
Jack North, one of those.
One of those. Up on the edge, and I was like, I got to get out of this thing. I'm so scared. But we didn't crash, which is good. The good news was it did fail, and I could get out. But, for people that don't understand what you guys go through, it is amazing. The vehicles are punished like trophy trucks, but you race them in the desert like a trophy truck. Then you race them in the rocks over stuff that, well, frankly, most people can't walk over.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
It's wild.
The progression of the sport has been insane.
Yeah, it really has. And, it's funny you bring up the car, the levels and everything. Casey, I saw your uncle out there on the trail when we were pre-running and everything. And he's got a pretty similar car to the car that we won with in 09. Yeah. And it was one of those things that the reason I got rid of the car was, it was an 1.5-inch 095 car. And you're like, well, we're going, it was only 80 back then, but you're going too fast for those kind of cars. So now we've got the evolution to where they're similar builds to, any of the other top motorsport vehicles now. And
really, you look at it, it looks like a trophy truck without the body in many cases. Now we're seeing Paul's car, Horschel, I think, with the big tank in the back. Kind of looks like a trophy truck, with no body on it, no skins.
Yeah, and I think it's been neat to watch the evolution. Having no rule book really helped kind of let everyone come up with creative ideas. And I think at the beginning that sometimes has people going 50 different directions, but now that they've sort of honed in on, what the needs are and everything, you see pretty neat vehicles being built. I mean, Paul's definitely on the cutting edge of like what he's building out there, and so are some of the other people. But they're not fast like a trophy truck. Like, it's not like even close, right? They're 20 or 30 miles an hour off of that pace, but then to be able to go into the rocks and still actually rock crawl pretty well and get through those trails makes them, I don't know, one of the more dynamic vehicles that you can get, and it's a challenge, I think, to drive those two different aspects too, because the pace is so different. So you're so used to just charging through the desert, and you get into this technical stuff. It's like trials bikes or something, and you have to bring your body back to that slower pace too, that you're like, I can't just slam into this stuff or it's going to break other components or push you off the line. So it's a good mental challenge to drive them as much as it is cool that the cars can do it,
For sure, and that's one of the things. Now we're going to spend about 40 minutes here just talking King of the Hammers and the entire weekend. And what you keyed in on right there about the fast, and then having to check the brakes and go slow. I thought that was going to be the fail ratio for the T1 drivers, is what they were calling trophy trucks for the Invitational. And Luke, I'm sure you had the same assessment. I was convinced that there was only going to be 5 trucks that finished the race. I was wrong. There was 8. The other thing I was wrong about is that we were going to be on the podium and we didn't even finish. So I definitely missed my mark on that one. But were you on the same assessment that, hey, it's going to be hard for these guys to go as fast as we go anywhere and then go as slow as we go anywhere?
Yeah. No, at the beginning of the week, it's funny because we all thought it was going to be a sprint race. We're like, oh my gosh, it's only 200 and some change, 280, 240. There was some variation there, but we all thought it was going to be a sprint race. The first time I went out there and checked out the course, I went, oh no, we're not going that fast out here. We got to be able to, like you said, crawl through the rocks and then get going again. And that change of pace was different. You go from crawling speeds to 145 miles an hour just like that. So that was different.
I didn't see 145 miles an hour on my GPS, but I'm just saying. Yeah. So congratulations, Luke. I mean, your family obviously rich in history when it comes to off-road racing. Your grandfather, Corky, laying the road work for your dad and your uncles, Scott and Mark. And then, of course, your brother Dan, yourself, your cousins, Andy, and Jessica, all in the racing game. Andy's had some success already, obviously. He's a little bit older than you are. You're the youngest one.
Yep.
And it's cool to see you reach that pinnacle. I think everybody in the paddock in off-road racing in the trophy truck class will agree that that's a very popular win amongst all of us. Everybody was very stoked for you. Congratulations. And a long time coming and definitely well earned.
Yeah, thank you. No, like you said, the whole family, the legacy and stuff, that's just a big... I was glad to get 3 McMillans there at the race, and we were all running up front. We were all having a good day, and like you said, my cousin Andy, he's had a lot of success over the years and stuff, and our team, we had a lot of success in the 1600 Class 1, and then we went for a 7-year dry spell. We couldn't finish the race to save our lives. So for the team, we've reorganized the team, revamped a few things, and been finishing top 5, been getting closer and closer, but to finally get the big win was huge. And just, my uncle was at the finish. My cousin Andy came running up. He got out of the desert to come congratulate me, and my brother showed up in 5th place, and my mom was there, my fiance and her parents, and everyone was there, and it was really, really cool experience for all of us.
Yeah, and, we were fortunate being pit next to you. Obviously, I didn't get to congratulate you on the podium because I was standing out in the middle of the desert, but it was great to be able to come over there and see that camaraderie, the stoke on your dad's face, and the smiles all around. But I think one of the coolest things for me, my dad just passed away a few months ago, so my dad and I are big into racing, but to see the photo of your dad alongside the race courses, you're going back out on another lap with both hands up in the air, just cheering his ass off. That is a cool photo.
No, that was a really cool photo. I actually snapshotted that out of a video. I saw it, I was focused on the truck, and I went, wait a minute, that's my dad. He's got 2 hands up and stuff. And I'm always giving him a thumbs up when I go by, just kind of letting him know I'm not driving out of control, I promise. Still one hand, give him a thumbs up, like, I'm good, don't worry. I see you out there, and I'm not going to do anything you don't want me to. So, no, that was really cool. That picture, and I got to actually have another picture of me at like 8 years old, on my tippy toes looking inside the window of his Class 1 car. And I remember that year as we were chasing the championship, and I was his biggest fan. And I'm going to put those 2 pictures next to each other for him.
It's your 10-year challenge photo?
Yeah, 10-year challenge photo, yeah, exactly. So I'm going to put those 2 photos together for us. And, because it was me cheering him on my whole life, and now he's, me and my brother's biggest fan. And so, it's
very cool. Huge. And how old are you, Luke?
Since we've 26.
26, one of the youngsters of the race. Had you ever met Jason before?
I haven't. I don't think so.
Nice to meet you.
Jason, Luke, Jason. So it's pretty cool. I got to ask you because is this your first experience at the Hammers, correct?
Yep.
You hadn't been out there before
Yeah,
at all.
didn't know anything about it. I mean,
So let's hear the vibe and the feeling of what you thought going into it and how it progressed over that week.
I was nervous at first, and then when I showed up, I was pulling in actually late. I was actually really nervous. I went and pre-ran a couple days, went home for a couple days, and I decided I got to get back to the course right away. So me and my fiance ended up going out later that night, and we're driving, and it's pitch black. I don't know really where we're going. We're in the motorhome, and then all of a sudden you see a whole, the glow of lights. And you're like, well, what town is this? It was Hammertown. It was crazy. It was just like, wow, there's a lot of people out here. We were out there the Friday before when the first day of pre-running opened, and it wasn't anything like that, and it just ramped up, and it was incredible. And I was worried about the crowd control with the amount of people out there, but Dave and everyone at Ultra 4 Racing did an awesome job.
It was pretty cool to be able, and I know that Jason's a little bit spoiled because he's been around what Dave's been doing. For us, just to be racing back in California was pretty huge. I mean, we hadn't raced a major unlimited truck race in I don't know how long. You could probably give me that stat. I know we raced at Ridgecrest with HDRA a while back. Not quite the same. I mean, this is the big names, the big players going for it full stick.
And that's really exactly what it felt like. It felt like an old school Plaster City race or an old Barstow race with the big trophy trucks out there. Like you used to see in the 80s and 90s, and that's really what it felt like for me.
And the fans were thick, and it was crazy. You're pre-running, and there's snow fence everywhere. Like they've got this whole valley cordoned off. It's unbelievable. Casey, I mean, for you made that transition. Now you're doing the UTVs. Of course, you've had success with the Ultra 4 as well. You were the king in Portugal. I know that. So it's been a huge progression of what Dave has done as well as what the racers have brought to the King of the Hammers.
Oh, I think it's cool. I mean, even having you guys out there, though, like, for us, just, like, we spend the same amount of time in different style pre-runners, right? Like, we have rock pre-runners that are just meant for going in the rocks every day, and to see everyone coming out and, spending the time in the desert in California, it's cool, but it's also cool. It's like being a fan for the sport, right? Like, now on Thursday, we're not allowed to pre-run. There's nothing we can do anyways but go watch. So for us to be out, now as we've been pre-running over the week, like, I know where there's some cool spots that, like, for us, there was some super tight, slow canyons that were all sandy, so you didn't have to go too slow, but if you went too fast, it could bottle you up. But for us to be able to watch and just see you guys pushing hard and, like, actually be right up on the race course without, being hundreds of miles down in Baja, I mean, it's cool. Like, I mean, it was fun actually getting to watch you guys race, and everyone 280 miles. I mean, for us outside, it's still a sprint, right? Every truck is still within a minute of each other. I mean, it felt like it was a full-blown battle zone out there.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty cool. And as a trophy truck racer yourself, I know you're not focused on that right now, but it must have been pretty cool to be able to see the fans that came out for the trophy trucks and see everybody mesh together with the Ultra 4s, the UTVs, and everybody that was involved.
Yeah, I mean, Dave does a phenomenal job. I mean, that event has grown into something. I mean, it's how we make our livelihood, even racing the Ultra 4 class in Baja and at the Mint and stuff like that. I mean, to me, I think he's done a phenomenal job growing something that was so grassroots for so long that, I mean, the Ford guys, the Jeep guys, I mean, every tire manufacturer, every wheel manufacturer, every big sponsor of off-road, to me, is at King of the Hammers. So, like, to be able to have now the top guys in Ultra 4 and the top guys in Trophy Truck all being in one area, I think it's where the sport's going to evolve. I mean, the live stream, you could watch everything from your phone. Like, there was times when my mom and my wife are calling, my dad saying things. Like, when I DNF'd like 4 miles into the race on Friday, and my mom knew that before my dad did. It's like how that's going on. It's crazy that live stream is, they're so up to par with what's going on that everyone at home can see how it's going all day long in every race.
So for those of us off-road donkeys, trophy truck guys, had you ever met Jason Scherer before, Ricky?
No.
Ricky, Jason. So this is what I'm getting at. This dude's one of the baddest racers in the world, and some of us have not been exposed to him, but because of King of the Hammers, bringing in a whole different group of people, it's opening up doors. And I know you're doing a tour. You're going to Four Wheel Parts, right, tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
You got a appearance for people to come see you there, or no?
Totally. And, it's pretty neat, too, to see that they're going to do stuff for the employees. Like, they're buying all their employees lunch, and we're going to show the car off to everybody. And
We bought everybody lunch here too. I'm just
I know, it's
saying,
pretty
nice. but Four Wheel Parts is super cool. I mean, they give the opportunity for people that don't know much about off-roading or know a lot about it. They give them the whole spectrum to be able to shop there and be able to come in, and for them to be one of your big supporters is really cool. I mean, and I know Joey D is a part of it. He's here today. It must be a cool little family vibe that you guys have going on there.
Absolutely. I mean, all the way to the top. They're all supporting it and everything, and I just, first of all, huge fan. And likewise, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to say that as well. And congratulations. That was really cool to watch. I think all the Ultra 4 family that's been going there for years, there was a little bit of like, oh, the trophy truck guys are showing up. What's it going to be like? Are we going to be second fiddle? And
those guys are dicks.
Bunch of helicopters in the air. Weird.
I know. A lot of helicopters, so it was pretty cool. But no, I think it made it actually a better environment. And it was so cool to watch you guys because, there's just watching you guys even leave on the short course track. And we're like, wow, the trophy trucks are like 10 miles an hour faster coming off the short course. And we thought, we're all-wheel drive. We're going to be faster here. And these guys are just taking off launch. And we're like, it looks so fun.
I was curious. I never did see how the desert times stacked up. Were they comparable at all?
Oh, that's a stat for fish. Do you have lap times for the desert?
Little tricky.
Oh yeah, that's a little tricky because of Cougar Buttes, right?
So we ran through the rock trails out there.
That's right.
So we add some time, but I bet somebody that's really good with stats, Fish, could figure out. Like,
you're not
if
saying
Dave is watching,
Fish
Dave
really
would
good,
have
right?
it. Dave would know.
Did you see Fish's mullet? Did everybody see Fish's mullet?
Yeah, this is for Pete.
Yeah, for Pete Soren.
awesome.
He's running the shaved sides.
I saw the guy that was running second go from second to like 7th place just on the back door. On the last lap.
That was Paul, right?
Horschel.
Yeah. Tip over on the second ledge, right?
Yeah. And then freaking Campbell.
Yeah.
I don't know what won, but just drove right over him. Gnarly.
That's become a trademark thing in Ultra 4. For some reason, we drive on top of each other. I don't know how it ever started.
Gnarly. You guys are gnarly.
For those of us that don't know you very well, Jason, rapid fire questions. Where are you from?
From Danville, California, up in the Bay Area.
What's your favorite food?
Oh man, that's tricky. Avocados.
And what racing do you originally come from? Because you're not originally an Ultra 4 racer.
I was a dirt biker. I got into trials bikes, and a friend asked me if I would go to one of the rock crawling. I had a Jeep, and so I went trail recreational wheeling and everything as a kid. A friend asked me if I'd go to one of the first rock crawling events and be a spotter for him. And that was like the beginning of the end for me. Like I was hooked and said I got to build one and do it myself and go out there. And the rock crawling thing was super fun. Like 10 years plus of the competitions of that, and then just kind of a series of things. We best friend bought a Jeep Speed. We started doing the Jeep Speed stuff, had fun, bought a seat in Pistol Pete's trophy truck in 2007 and rode in the 1,000 with him. 4th place finish, had a good time. I was hooked. The next year was the first KOH.
2007?
2007.
We were teammates in that race.
Yeah, it was.
I was there
You guys were doing really well, and then you got into a 12 car in the water.
Oh no,
right?
that was I was thinking about 2000.
Oh, Pete got punched.
Yeah, you guys, we were all running really well down there at the end. I think we were all
was
in
doing
top
really
5.
good.
Yeah, he was carrying somebody. I don't know if it was like one of us had the 9-inch third member in our lap because it was going out in the rear end. So we're driving through that thing with the 9-inch in our lap. One of Lance or somebody in there, and we just finished really well. And I was like, that was so cool. But if you think about it, it's November 2007, February 2008, 4 months later, we're at KOH, and I was like, oh man, 2 worlds collided. Like all the stuff that I was good at in rock crawling and all the stuff I wanted to do, which was go fast in the desert, and here you've got the race that's like both of them, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. Budget wise, I can do it. Skill set, I can learn it, and I'm like, this is what I want to do.
This is a perfect segue to take a deep breath, and for a moment, Pete's touch and reach throughout our off-road community was massive, and a shout out to Pete and one of his favorite lines, Rock Donkey, Jason Scherer in the house, right? I mean, we got to throw a Rock Donkey out there. I threw it out there.
He would be calling him that if he was here.
No, for sure. Yeah, I called it out on King of the Hammers at the end of the broadcast while I was there. But
he'd be throwing golden spoons at me right now if he was here.
That's true too. We got a couple questions coming in.
Let's
too.
Go,
here.
bring it.
So, Luke? You have any idea? Do you want to get an Ultra 4 car? Are you going to race on Friday since the race is on Thursday? You going to jump in an Ultra 4 car? Any idea?
It looks like fun, but no plans right now. I'm very focused on what we're doing and just keep my head down and doing that. So no plans for now.
And then what about you jumping in a trophy truck the day before your race, your big race?
Luke, I'll trade you anytime, dude.
That's a pretty fair deal.
There you go.
Right there. I'll split it up with you. I'd love to do it. Hey, so speaking of race vehicles,
There's a lot of emotion wrapped up in your vehicle. We talked a little bit about it on the podium at the end of the race. You care to share a little bit?
Yeah,
if it's not too.
No, it's personal, but it's real. My mom had passed away, and she left. It was a small inheritance. I think sometimes people think it was a lot, but my brother and I split that up, and I said, I put it in the bank, and I said, man, my mom would have never wanted me to do that, right? She would have wanted me to go do something fun with it. So I took that money, and we built a car in my garage. Dan Trout came down. He helped me get it all set up, and then he finished the chassis, and then we wired it and plumbed it and everything and put together that car. And it's sort of one of those things where it's like, if you really love the car, like, and it takes care of you, it just becomes like so special, right? And I've always felt that way about that car because we've had really, really good success in it, and also like it's been fun. It's my fun outlet. I go to the shop. I think it's kept it to one of those things. I hear this every once in a while, and it's from like everyone's, oh, we got to prep it. It's all this work and going to the shop to drag and all this. And I'm like, man, it's my favorite thing to go do. Like, I'm so excited to go down there. When I walk in the door, I'm like, right on, let's go have some fun with this. And I think that attitude kind of carries itself around with all the guys that help on the car because I'm pumped to go down there. It's not like, oh, we got to do this stuff on it and work on it, right? It's just always been fun. But, I said it during that interview with you, Cam. It's like, there's somebody watching us from above when we're in that car, you know what I mean? And I always feel like there's somebody watching out for us, and I think that part's, it's pretty cool. So, yeah.
Very cool. When did you build the car? What year?
2014. We didn't make the KOH race in it. We built it right after that, and kind of got it started about May or so is about when we started getting it going. And then 2015, we still had some new car bugs, right? But then since then, it 16, 17, 18, 19, it's been on the podium 4 times in a row, and I'm like, that's a crazy stat. It's had a third, a second, and 2 firsts, and won the Triple Crown, Grandin race. Like, it's had a lot of good finishes, a couple of the national championship and stuff in Ultra 4, and I'm like, that, I don't know. There's something crazy about that car. It's like a good vibe all around.
That's cool.
Yep.
It's definitely got the magic for you. And your first win was in 09, correct? Your first King?
Yep, 09.
Title?
Yep, and another fun Pete story. I got to share it because it's so cool. So I rolled over on Sledgehammer in 09, and
I should have won.
I know.
Second.
Dang. You won the single seat car though,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So we roll over, and Pete comes running over. He's like, "We're gonna push you up." And I said, "Oh no outside assistance." And he goes, "Call on the radio. I think that's for something's broken." So I call on the radio, and I actually didn't know that the radio transmitted out the bottom of it with noise too. I thought it was just in our helmets. So I said, "Can the fans roll us back over?" And at the time, Jeff Knoll was running. He said, "Yes, the fans can roll you back over." And it was like instantly, the whole thing ran up. But that was Pete that stuck his head in his window and said, "Call on the radio," and he, got us righted right there, and we went on to win the race. And I'm always like, dude, that was cool. You know what I mean? Like, he saved our race right there. We would have been out winching for an hour, So
I'm sure Casey will never forget that moment.
Thanks,
It was
Pete.
good. But it's a true story though. That was literally a Pete moment. I remember that.
Yep. The canyon was full of people. You remember that? How crazy that
It used
was?
to be way gnarlier.
Yeah.
So you built your own race truck?
Dan Trout really helped me do it. I love doing it. It's not my craft, right? Like, I love doing it and everything. And then, like, even the prep, like, the guys don't let me zip tie anything anymore, literally. They, like, Adam, the guy that, like, runs my whole team, like, he's like, dude, you can't do that. You're going to chafe the wires up against this. And I'm like, okay. So I'm, like, relegated to driving. But it's good.
That's about all they let me do around our trophy truck, too.
Yeah. But I do love it all,
And your family's involved, too.
They're all involved. My kids, oh my gosh, my kid's going to start racing the 170 Razor this year, so he's going to do that in NorCal. My daughter's not super into it. She makes cool posters, but she's way into her horses, so, yep, it's a good family thing, though.
You actually missed trail admissions last year, right? Because your daughter, you went on a horse camp, right?
Yeah, she was at camp and couldn't make it, but I'm making it this year, for sure.
Right on, there you have it. Yep. Jason Scherer on trail admissions this year. Go ahead.
Got another question. So, seeing the 4-wheel drive trophy trucks out there, do you think any chance a 4-wheel drive trophy truck could do the course you did?
No way.
No way.
All 3 no's. All right, there you go. That was a question. Now, what do you think about in the trophy truck race at that? Like, Luke, this is probably for you. Is a 4-wheel drive trophy truck, you obviously were in 2-wheel drive and won, is a 4-wheel drive an advantage on that race course, you think? A 4-wheel drive trophy truck, on that specific course?
I don't. I think the 4-wheel drive pretty soon is going to be an advantage everywhere. But I started next to one, and we did okay next to him. So I I don't know. You got to finish to be able to win, and the two-wheel drives still finish consistently.
Andy caught Bryce on the. There was a video on.
Yeah, no, they're going back
Yeah.
and forth. They're going back and forth. I mean, I think the Mason all-wheel drive's pretty far ahead, and it's going to be a great truck. But no, I think going into that race, and even going into the next 4 or 5, I think a two-wheel drive's going to win all of them.
I agree with you on that, by the way.
Thank you.
Luke, how long ago did you guys build your truck, and what is it?
We built my truck, started in 2013, started racing it in 2014 at a Racer Engineering, and then it's been in our shop ever since. And it's been full of gremlins and other stuff. And I mean, a lot of issues that, I could say were on us and stuff, but then just a bunch of issues where you really just stare at it and scratch your head and go, why us? How is this possible? And there's been more than 5 of those. So, but we haven't given up on it, and that's how we, it's been 5 years, and that truck it's been on the podium a handful of times and qualified really well, but we couldn't get our first big win out of it. I mean, it was just always something. I can't tell you how many times we're out front and settled in. It's just like, all right, what's it going to be today? Just go ahead and let's see what it's going to be. And finally, nothing happened.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm sure that was a nice breath of fresh air to get that win checked off.
Yeah. No,
Just to give you a hard time, it wasn't a trophy truck race, so you still got to win your first trophy truck.
I know, I heard about that. T1. So.
T1, you got your first T1 race.
The way it looks right now, T1's going to grow because Dave Cole puts on a good event, and I want to be at more of them.
For sure. I'm right there with you.
Are they coming back next year? Is that part of the game plan?
I think it's a 3-year deal with Toyo Monster to do the purse.
3 years. That's what David said.
Dave and Travis were saying that, so I think that's exciting. Mm-hmm. It's definitely on our schedule. I've raced King of the Motos. I raced King of the Hammers as a navigator. I would love to race King of the Hammers in an Ultra 4. I'd like to get more involved with that. I think it's a great series, and I really like the aspect of the rock racing. But what I think would be even cooler is if somehow you could put together a team event. So we each race our own individual races, and then maybe on Saturday, the UTVs do the first segment and then tag in their trophy truck to do their segment that tags in their Ultra 4.
Like a relay race?
Like a relay race with the 3 classes.
Triple Crown relay.
That would be pretty cool.
I think that would be pretty cool. And, maybe it's 20 grand to enter and, there's a big purse or something. I don't know, but I just thought that would be cool because you have so many different disciplines of motorsports all right there and all major classes and fields. And, we talk about trophy trucks being a major class, and the UTVs and Ultra 4s have had the entries. I mean, holy crap.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, you look at the Ultra 4s and 40-inch tires and 800 horsepower now, and then...
Not him, though. No 800 horsepower, right?
No, we're still running kind of a stock crate motor.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Go ahead, Stacey.
No, the UTVs. I mean, the Guthrie
it?
family. Like, you look at, 32-inch tires and every rock trail, right? And they didn't pull the winners of it. The Guthries didn't pull the winch line all day. Like, super, super impressive. Like,
how modified are those UTVs? Because some people were asking,
did they have to go up back door?
No, no, we didn't have to go back. Even like our Can-Ams that we run, and I think the Polaris's that they run, for that race, we don't have to, no fuel cells. It's a cage. We do upgraded arms just for the bashing of the rocks. We run stock axles in ours, which is what I broke. I think they upgrade axles, winch, and I think seats and seatbelts. So it's literally, it's basically a stock car with some upgraded parts. So like, I think the top 10 cars were pretty much stock cars.
So if somebody wanted to come out and do King of the Hammers, that would be a good race for them to start at, would be a UTV race. They could relatively cheaply get in and be kind of competitive in that race.
Yeah, I'd say that'd probably be the best. I mean, for us, like, you're probably going to race, I think all the top guys from the desert, or most of the top guys, are now racing that race. So I think you can get a good feeling. And I think that's one of those races, because it's a one-off event, is where you're going to get that asking questions and getting response, rather than, some of the other races where I feel that when it comes to strategies and points, I think the trophy truck race is the same way, and same with Hammers. It's kind of like, it's that run for broke. So everyone's kind of doing their own deal for that one-off hooray.
For sure. And how many UTVs were entered?
130 or 124, I think.
And Ultra 4 is over 100 as well, correct?
It's 110.
Yeah, I think just maybe like around 119 or something, because they said they had 29 finishers, which is that's the astonishing thing. Only 29.
Is that high or low?
That's about that's a little above our average finish rate. We've had years where you didn't get 20 finishers, I think, and
I think the stat was, I think it might have been 2009 maybe, was 13% finishing ratio, and then there was another year the highest finishing rate was 53%. We talked about that on the
It's all if you go up or
webcast.
down the rocks. Sport development.
It was definitely the lowest finishing ratio for a trophy truck race I've ever seen.
Oh, really? Was that low?
Yeah, lowest percentage.
How many started qualifying?
24.
24. Yeah, so 8 out of 24.
It's 25%.
That's
So
pretty
was
pretty
everyone
low.
driving 100% the whole day?
No,
It's
not 25,
33%.
less than
Yeah.
Yeah, less than that. Yeah.
So were you guys
No,
driving
I was-
like it was going to be a 200-mile, like just like you're saying? Was it a 200-mile
Luke
sprint?
was. Luke was smashing it pretty good. I kind of laid up a little bit because I didn't think the drivetrain was going to last with the wet conditions. I thought there was going to be too much traction. And I thought that with the cold temperatures in the morning and the oil function and all that, I thought, even heating it up was going to be tough. I laid up just a little bit, still thinking that we could race for the win at the end. And I think at the halfway point, we were down by 5 or 6 minutes, which was a little bit more than we wanted to be at. But we ended up getting up to that 4th spot before we failed. But, even being a little bit careful, we failed. And I know a lot of other teams that, obviously were going hard failed. And Luke was setting the pace. I mean, I know that you say you were maybe not going that fast, but you were putting the pressure on your cousin.
we were.
And you were on it.
We were going.
Did you have any issues, Luke?
How'd your gear set look
Any
at
problems?
the end of the race, just out of curiosity?
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
Did you have any issues all day?
No issues. We just kept moving. It was a fast pace, but it's kind of the same. You just kind of settle into whatever pace. I don't really, everyone asks me, how are you going to drive this section or that section? I don't really do that. I mean, I do. I think about the courses a lot and very strategically, but you just kind of click into a zone and you just kind of drive it. And that day we were just having fun, really. I mean, there wasn't any scares or maybe 1 or 2.
That's exactly how we were. We were just kind of
But it
going
wasn't
in a fast pace, trying to keep it smooth, but
Yeah.
it's still the danger of keeping that truck together, and
Yeah.
obviously it didn't pay off for everybody.
Yeah. No, we ran a consistent but fast pace. I mean, probably a little slower than we would at like San Felipe.
Wow.
Hey, Luke.
Yep.
How long until you realized that you didn't have one of your spare tires?
Oh, I knew right away. I passed Abdali up in the bluff. He got lost because he didn't have a GPS. And about 50 yards later, we pulled to the stop check, and just bam, I get punted through there. And so I went cruising through the hot pit, and I radioed to my guys in the hot pit, said, hey, look at my spare tire strap. And, I just got hit really hard for no reason. And at a stop check. And they rated it and said, yep, you lost your strap. So I knew right away. And then I kept going, and Abdali followed me all the way to the main pit, and I told myself at the beginning of the race, being smart's going to win this race. So I pulled into the pit. I could have went out for the 40, and then I had my main pit, but I decided pull in, get an extra spare tire, even though we did not have a flat. And Abdali went back by us, and we got back by him probably 20 miles later. But we knew right away.
What did you think of the stop checks? Because that's not something we normally do in, Baja or anywhere else. Was it an issue much, or?
Well, I think we still do stop checks.
We
in
do
Baja,
stop
and
checks in Baja. I think the issue.
Or they put a sticker on the
I
car,
don't think
right?
they
Like you
should
have to
be
wait.
there.
I don't think they should be standing there. I don't think there's any reason for a
I
sticker.
think there was a little bit of a learning curve on how the trophy truck guys, the mentality behind the wheel. I mean, it's like a red flag to a bull. And so when someone wants to walk up and put a sticker on there and clean your car and then step back, it's like, no, I'm going.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see something improve there, pretty much across the board. I don't know why we have people walking out to the course for a stop check in blind dust when we're coming down the road in blind dust at 100 miles an hour. There should be no one stepping out on the course for all series.
If there is a stop check, there shouldn't be anybody there. I mean, they can monitor it from
stand
ways
back
back.
and do it.
I think they were just really poorly placed for your race. So in our race, we have a different situation where you could just cut between 2 rock trails anywhere you wanted. So we physically have to have somebody there because even the GPSs and the trackers kind of struggle in those canyon walls to see where we've gone. So we need them, but they were in a terrible. I saw where they were, and I was like, "You're going to stop people in a silt bed?" I mean, it was in a very.
And that's why
smart,
we had to change the start to 2 every 2 minutes because they were going to send us off 2 every 1 minute, and we're like, "Whoa, that's going to be
a lot of hard
pile
work
up
went
at
out
mile
there.
7 for a
Yeah.
stop."
Yeah.
But they did
And
the right thing. Dave, the one great thing about Dave was he listened to, the constructive criticism and took it, and I'm sure he will, and it'll be an even better event next year. So.
For sure.
you know,
It'd be
hats
hard to
off
top
him.
it. I think it would be great if there's more entries. I'm not sure how we achieve that, but I think maybe now that everybody's seen what, the King of Hammers crew, Ultra 4 is doing, I think we'll see more entries.
I think we will see more entries, but we were talking about it after the race. Who were we really missing? I mean, Arciero, maybe 1 or 2 at Team C, Arciero, but outside of that, I mean, the big dogs were there.
It was definitely a lot of big hitters there for sure. What do you do, Jason, from here? I mean, you've won
the King of the Hammers. I know there's a series to go after. You chase the Triple Crown and the title again and all of that. Are they doing the Triple Crown
They're
again?
not doing the Triple Crown. I really enjoyed that last year. I think it was a little bit of a rush for us, and we kind of missed on the setup for the Mint. But man, did we have fun at Crandon. I really loved that whole event because car setup was fun, like changing the cars to try to do different things with them and everything. And we had just a kind of a fun year of mixing it up, practicing, testing different stuff. But they're not doing it this year. I've got my daughter's into their horse stuff. My son's starting baseball. He's going to race the 170, so I'm going to spend some time with him. I'm going to do the Nationals, possibly Crandon if they do a Crandon Ultra 4 race again this year, because that was amazing how much fun that was. I didn't realize how much I was going to love it, and it was cool. Casey was back there with me, and it was cool to follow you around at the beginning because he knew the track. We had never been there, and I was trying to follow him through turn 1, and he just took off, and I'm like, he never lifted him through turn 1, and then I learned that you could just kind of stay on. I'm like, oh, this is sick. So we had a good time out there, but a couple of those races, and then it's tricky. The car is so dialed. It's hard to want to go destroy it running a mud race in some town that's got not enough fans. It just doesn't make sense at some of these races, and there's so many right now. If you look at the schedule with Ultra 4, they're doing the right thing trying to grow it, but I think if you look at the European series they've got and all the races in the US, I think there's 15 races this year, and it's hard to chase them all. And on top of that, I'm super excited to go with you, Trail Missions, go to Moab, Jeepers Jamboree, stuff like that. I really enjoy that stuff, and so I'm going to try to kind of keep a balance on it, so that's my plan.
Seems like a good plan. I guess they say if you win the Indy 500, you don't have to really do anything else all year long, so I guess if you could win back-to-back King of the Hammers, no one's going to sweat you too hard. Joey D's not working your schedule.
At a few more races.
What about you, Luke? What's the plan? I know what your plan is. You and me going to be bumping elbows and doors in Baja all year long, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm ready to get down south, go to Baja. But we're going to go to the Mint 400 first with the 83 truck. Dan's going to race Mason all-wheel drive at the Mint, and then I'm going to race my truck at the Mint, and then we'll have both the McMillan trucks at San Felipe, and then we'll finish out the Baja series.
Right on. Casey, we going to see you racing trophy trucks this year, or we see you racing Baja, or what's next for you?
Right now it's mostly Dakar stuff, I think. I'm going to do the Mint. I'll do the Mint and the 500, and then around that I got to go overseas a bunch, so learning something new.
Copy that. Right on. Any more questions, Fish?
Did you find out if you're able to say what he's doing from Johnny? Somebody's asking.
Ryder?
No, I didn't get the answer. He's still digging out of the mud, it sounds like.
All right.
But
you could say it. I'm just not saying it. But you already know, don't you?
I think I know.
Well, I think you. I don't know if it's the right person. You could say it. Nobody knows, but you have an idea.
I have an idea.
Cameron can put the rumor out there.
Is he an American?
Yes, it's American Desert Racer. I think. I have not substantiated it with the big boss.
I know it's an American Desert Racer.
He's pretty fast too.
Johnny's coming back.
Johnny might be coming back.
Hey, Johnny had a 14th place friggin' Takati Enduro trophy on your front desk. What's that about? I didn't know they make trophies back that far.
Oh, that's harsh. You're being mean to the boss.
It's all right.
All right, guys.
He didn't make it.
He did make it. Thanks for co-hosting with me.
Yeah, thank you.
Jason, thank you for coming down, man.
Yeah,
Super
thanks for
stoked.
having me.
I know it was a big pull to come down from Northern California,
Oh,
but
I'm stoked to be here.
we have a lot of respect for what you do and what you've accomplished, and it's great to get you inside the group and get to share some time and stories with us and get us to know a little bit more about Ultra 4 and what you guys do.
Cool. I'm glad to be here, and definitely. You asked me that question about the racing. I would race every weekend if I could find a way. It's one of those.
It's all
things
on the
I just
budget, the
absolutely
family
love, but
maintenance,
you got to balance it all. So that's the plan. Yeah.
For sure. And Luke,
Thanks for having me.
don't get used to winning too much, right, buddy?
I don't know
The
about
momentum's
that.
a big thing,
We're
dude.
ready
Momentum.
to go. No, we're gonna have a good season. I'm excited for it, and again, I want to say thank you to everyone at Ultra 4 for putting on a great event. I heard Nitto, I heard Toyo, but how about BFG coming in and taking top 5 spots?
Yep, for sure.
So-
Right on.
Not
Big
too bad.
move there.
Not too bad.
And Casey, thank you for running the American flag for all of us on the ASO and Dakar Racing. We look forward to seeing you there next year. And Ricky, no pressure, bud. I know you've had a couple great runs. I'd say just do exactly what you're doing. Keep smiling and having fun. Everybody loves you, bud, and we're all there with you. No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure. No stress.
No pressure, no stress.
Next year's only going to be, what, 16 days?
17 days.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, 17.
And it's back in.
Maybe. Saudi Arabia, they're saying.
It's more dirt roads, though, so it's faster.
Yeah, maybe.
Safer.
Safer.
That's going to do it for this episode of Fishgistics here from the Baja HQ. Remember, you can share this so that your friends can watch it. Of course, like Baja HQ page. And thanks to KMC for their sponsorship of Fishgistics. And thanks to Fish over there. Good job, buddy.
Thanks to you, Cameron, everybody that came out. Wouldn't be a show without you guys. I just turned the computer on.
Good job, buddy. Way to run it. Hey, next time, we'll see you with another story. What is our next show, Fish?
He's only good behind the keyboard.
San Felipe. Yeah, he's good on the keyboard.
I got to get my helmet on. Keyboard racing over here. It's getting intense.
Mint and San Felipe wrap-up show probably coming up next from Fishgistics. We make it up as we go. Thank you, PCI Race Radios and KMC. We'll see you guys next time as Fishgistics goes live from here at Baja HQ.